Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dropped Frames. We're back from our hiatus last week. We've been playing lots of Baldur's Gate, I think. Dad, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. Glad to have you here. How's it going?
It's going great. I'm just on cloud nine, experiencing the joy that is Baldur's Gate 3,
True.
a game that you get so rarely. Like once in a while, you get a game of this caliber, and it's just been absorbing every ounce of it, every minute of it, every chance I can get.
Beautifully said.
It's
I
so good.
think me and Co are right there with you. Zeke, how much? I've seen on Steam the 40 hours. I think is where you're at. Is that correct? How much of that is sitting at a screen? Okay. All right. So a lot of offline gameplay, I would assume, for that.
Yes, absolutely. And I forgot to mention, like, when we talked about it before, that when it was in early access, I played
Act 1,
Act 1 or whatever. I played like 35 hours of that.
Right.
So like I had quite a bit of time in the first act, but obviously not everything was there. There were a couple of classes that weren't there. Like Bard wasn't available at the beginning, right?
Not when you played it. No.
Yeah. That was right when it came into like first act.
Yeah.
Playability and stuff. So yeah, like I'm seeing a lot of familiar stuff, a lot of unfamiliar stuff, but I'm still in Act 1. Like still, like even the second time through, like I'm 30 or 40 whatever hours in, and I'm still like, okay, I guess I'll look in every crate and every vase and every fucking thing. A spoon? Give me that.
Zeke,
waste not, want not.
I'm only going to tell you this. So I don't know if this is how it's happened for you, but it happened to me at 80 hours, and I was very upset with myself. Make sure you're selling with the highest charisma character in your party, because it affects the prices of the cell.
My bard is
okay. Good.
I'm playing bard.
Okay, thank God.
We're playing bard.
Yeah, so that solves that.
Ah, man.
I got 80 hours in, and chat was like, "How come you don't have any gold? You must not be looting that much." And I'm like, looting the silvered forks off of the table.
Every
I'm like, guys,
single.
I'm looting everything.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you're not. How do you not have it? Because I had like 4,000 gold going into Act 3.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
and they're like, how do you not have gold? It's like, well, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. Going into Act 3?
4,000 gold. Yeah.
I'm at 4Gs right now, and I haven't got out Act 1 yet.
Oh no, I sold everything on an 8 charisma character. That's why.
Ah, there you go.
I definitely had 32,000 going into Act 3 for reference.
Okay,
it's a little bit of a Also,
I'm up to 22k now, but yeah.
Ready for this little fun thing for you? It takes approximately, depending on the vendor, 1,800 gold to maximize their attitude, which will give you, in some cases, a 33% increase in buy and sell discounts and bargains. So the technique is to, in each act, find a vendor that has a lot of stuff you potentially want to buy and also has a lot of money, and then give them 1,800 gold to max their attitude,
money,
and then
right?
just sell to that vendor.
Yeah,
Yep, just give them money. Literally give them gold.
Oh,
and
wow.
you generally want to save and load right before it, because some vendors are a little different. Some vendors are like 1,600 or 1,800, but you will make so much more money doing that.
Yeah, you'll make a lot more.
Oh yeah.
So I tried to power game it after learning about the charisma thing 80 hours in. I don't have a charisma character in my party. So I tried to use, let's say, I tried to use a charisma character and max out the vendor. And I don't know if it's a bug or it's an intended thing, but if you remove someone from your party, this is like so power gaming. If you remove someone from your party, you invite the charisma person into your party, you bring them to the vendor, you give the vendor 2,000 gold to up their reputation, you sell everything, you drop the person from your party, you put your original party member back in. The next time you do it, it resets the standing with the person that you brought out. And so I don't know if that's a bug or if that's how Larian has intended it to be.
The attitude definitely does not reset. You're talking about attitude?
Yeah,
right?
The attitude resets if you drop someone in and out of the party, for me. So it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's never happened to me.
But you're doing it on your main character, right? So there's no way for your main character to leave. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, I do it on my main character. That's a good point. Okay.
I don't know if that's a bug or if that's a
chat is saying most of people in chat are saying that does happen to them too, I would say.
Yeah.
So
I tried to super power game it, and then I was like, I don't even need. Why the fuck? Why
It's
am
a
I
lot
doing
of hassle.
Why
Yeah,
am I
it's a lot
doing
of hassle
this?
to go
This
through.
is way too much work for like an extra 3,000 gold that you don't even need because you could just steal from the fucking vendors in the first place. So why am I bothering? Anyways, that's kind of Baldur's Gate 3 in a nutshell.
You're making your dragon hoard to
Yeah.
lie on all your piles of gold and
That's
treasure.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah. That's that the old adage about dragons. It's like I think it even says it in the old monsters manual.
Right.
It says like, no one knows why dragons hoard gold, but boy do they.
Yeah. Well, how do we want to handle the show? I will pose the question to you guys. Should we do news first and then go into BG3? BG3 is kind of in the news. There's a big, I guess, internet talking point right now, kind of around all of the Baldur's Gate 3 hubbub. But should we talk about the game first? Do you want to do news first? Where should we go?
I'm up for anything.
Let's do
Up-
news.
up to you.
I want to hear that news story you're talking about.
Okay, let's do news first.
Okay.
So the big Baldur's Gate 3 kerfluffle on the internet right now in the world of news. I think it was definitely there before the IGN video came out 2 or 3 days ago. There was this discussion that like AAA devs were out there saying don't expect, because of what Baldur's Gate 3 is, to become the norm. Like this is the outlier. There's blah, 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 blah. Like AAA can never live up to this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then IGN dropped a video that like went giga-viral. It had like 1 million views, I think, in a day. Far, far eclipsing everything that IGN had on their own YouTube channel. And it was basically like the guy saying that AAA is shit and like everything is microtransactions and there's so many issues with AAA development. And then there's a thing like Baldur's Gate where there is no microtransactions. There is no, none of the like pitfalls that exist within the industry. And then that kind of respurred and reignited the entire conversation. I saw a little bit of your Twitter. Basically, people are already being like, oh, Starfield's going to suck. Why can't they just do like what Baldur's Gate 3 is? And I think that's going to be kind of the story for honestly the next 6 months, to just be like, everything's going to get compared to Baldur's Gate 3 because it is what it is. And so it's kind of taken over the industry. Everyone's got a take on it, so to say. But I think the idea of it making AAA studios look bad is kind of true. But at the same time, the reason that AAA studios do that is because they're going to make more money than Baldur's Gate will from their MTX. Like it all comes down to money at the end of the day. And while Diablo 4 is Diablo 4, they have $20 skins for a reason. It's because they sell, and it's because they're going to make a shit ton more money than BG3 will just from sales alone. And that's kind of like the bottom line for all of that. But it's definitely like continued a conversation within the industry of like, the industry needs a reset. This is not sustainable. Games as a service has like ruined everything and yada, 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 yada. So that's kind of a nutshell. It's not super well defined in terms of the news story, but that's the talk of the town right now on social media and your gaming websites and all that type of stuff. I don't know if you guys have any particular takes on it or anything worth going into, but it's out there. That's where we're at. And it's happened before, I think, in the industry as well with other games.
Yeah, I think there's two specific different arguments going on here. One is that, and there was two different kind of like major issues. The first is developers saying not to expect games, not to hold how good Baldur's Gate 3 is over their heads. Like they were basically saying like Baldur's Gate 3 is so good, don't align your projections for other games to be as good as this one.
Yeah.
And that created this huge dramatic uproar. Because the problem is that some AAA devs chimed in that people felt slighted. Like, how dare you, when you have 10 times the resources of Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian, say that your game shouldn't live up to the same amazing standards as Baldur's Gate 3? And they felt slighted. And that caused anger and aggression and stuff like that. But here's the thing that I think, and pertaining to that one. when a developer says, don't expect games to be as good as Baldur's Gate 3 coming from other people, in my opinion, that's obvious. I mean, Larian Studios has built their own engine. They have hundreds of people that are finely tuned to do this type of game. They have the Baldur's Gate franchise under their belt. They have DOS 2 under their belt. Like, they have actually a good amount of resources. They're not AAA level, but they have a good amount. Like, this is a finely tuned machine designed to churn out that exact product, led by an extremely passionate team and an even more passionate head of studio. So, like, no, they're an anomaly. Like, do not expect a lot of other games like this. Like, people have been saying, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the best. We haven't seen games like this for a decade, blah, blah. It's like, no, we've never seen a game like this. This is the first time we've seen a AAA style RPG or CRPG. Like, this is a first, which I think is why it's so hard to compare it to other games and other things that have happened. We have not seen any deep, like, fundamentally, like, awesome, story-rich, super heavy 100+ hour game that has fully mocapped, fully voiceover, everything voice. Like, this is an untold amount of resources for these types of games, and it's bringing a niche, what used to be a relatively niche genre,
it still is,
into the spotlight. Absolutely, it still is. But
that's
the first thing.
I didn't play any Pathfinder, but how does, like, because that's the first thing that comes to my mind as far as like a CRPG that has like deep, like, it has like a lot of options, like all that kind of stuff. How does it compare, like, to BG?
Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous are almost directly comparable to Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh God, you're doing
Baldur's
the
Gate
slamming thing again.
Oh, I am sorry. I absolutely wasn't.
No, I immediately was like, is it storm? Is there thunder?
Okay,
what
so Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous are directly comparable to Baldur's Gate 3 in a lot of ways. What they're not comparable in is the amount of resources going into the veneer. So, being able to have everything voice acted, being able to have mocapping, being able to have, like, all of these gorgeous, gorgeous graphics in some cases, amazing orchestral music scores. Like, that is not something that Owlcat can do yet. We have seen their games get better and better, and Rogue Trader is hopefully going to be even better than Wrath of the Righteous, which was my game of the year last year. But in terms of, like, the raw story and character content, Wrath of the Righteous is an amazing game, like, absolutely amazing. In my opinion, directly comparable to Baldur's Gate 3. So, but the thing that makes Baldur's Gate 3 so interesting is that all that other stuff they're doing is bringing it to audiences that have not really been exposed to this kind of stuff in the past, and makes it this, like, new force to be reckoned with. There's there's people that are playing Baldur's Gate 3 that aren't super into, like, normal RPGs. It's their first CRPG, and the reason they were attracted to this is because they saw all this stuff that they're used to seeing in other AAA titles, and they're like, oh, I can attach to this. I can do full voice acting and mocapping. I liked Horizon Zero Dawn and how amazing that was. This one looks kind of similar. Let me see what this game's about. So it's getting all of these people that were not normally into this stuff now into it and loving it. And I mean, we saw 800,000 plus players at one point
yesterday,
which is unheard of
a week after
for
release,
a CRPG to have. Absolutely. So that's one of many factors that has made it so popular. But the TLDR is, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is not only an anomaly, it's one of the first times we've seen something like this. It's almost uncomparable in a lot of ways. Which is not, I'm not saying it's the best game ever made. I'm just saying what it is new.
And to add to that point, like, Sven, the CEO of Larian, is an anomaly of CEOs. He is, like, in the depths with the developers making the game. He knows the game. He plays it. He gives feedback. He flies around the country showing the game to people. I remember for Divinity Original Sin, he flew out to Washington and showed the game to me on a laptop in Washington. Because he was so passionate about the game. He knew everything about it. Like, there are few people that work as hard and know as much as he does. And because he is so passionate, he allows the devs and finds ways to allow them to work the way they do and make the game they want, and not focus on microtransactions and short dev times. And because they worked on this for 6 years, he finds a way to make their passion a reality. Like, he's probably doing all kinds of things in the background to make sure these people can do the best they can do at making this game, which, as Ko said, is an anomaly of games. Like, a AAA CRPG has, like, been my dream forever. And it's like, seeing this is because of his hard work and allowing these devs to go against the standards to make a game like this.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's owed to him.
I would agree. Yeah,
100%. 100%. And the team he's built, what he has inspired, the temple he has built to CRPGs,
well,
is in full force.
I think to even expand on that, while he is in the business of running a business, he's not in the business of making as much money as possible through MTX. Like that is what CEOs now are at the top of the AAA.
You could stop it
teams.
with even MTX.
Yeah.
You could say that he is not in absolutely
not in
wanted
the
this to
business of
succeed.
MTX, yeah.
He's just not in the business of making money. Like he's actually doing this to deliver this quality product and have so much faith in its capacity that it's like that's the moneymaker.
Yeah.
Like no flavor on top. Sure, they had like a deluxe edition and stuff like that, kind of normal marketing stuff.
Normal stuff.
But there's no question they could have done so much more and had it be, wildly financially beneficial to them.
You could sell
they even
skins.
had the pledge.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You could sell so much of that stuff. But the game doesn't need it because like a random item that has no actual like stats in game looks cool. It looks like MTX would be offered in a lot of these other AAA. You can go, here's a random like robe that has no value, but it's going to be what you wear in your camp at night. And it looks fantastic, right? Like it's full high fidelity.
And you can dye in different colors with dye for free. Like
Then there's a whole dye system. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
All for in-game money.
Yeah.
Hold on, you can dye it for free?
Well, you can dye it if you have the dye.
If you have the dye, you have to buy the dye in game.
You have to buy the dye in game. Okay. I was like, is there some dye vendor? Because I would go to them. I would find them and dye my stuff. It'd be great.
Anyway, before we get too far off it, that was the first argument. The first argument was just for the quality games. The second argument, though, and this is the one that I feel like is taken a lot more by storm, and this is the one that the first one I feel is like kind of mostly just kind of people wanting drama. Because like there was this big thing about people saying like, yeah, this game's anomaly. Don't expect a lot from us, especially us indie devs. It's kind of like, yeah, that's probably how people should feel. You should not feel like Baldur's Gate 3 is an anomaly. Do not expect a lot of Baldur's Gate 3s to come out and for all games to be at that quality level. Absolutely. That's just a given. The other stuff though, where you start seeing like the AAAs and stuff coming out with that kind of thing, when you start seeing people arguing that, maybe that the microtransactions should actually be like, this is an industry standard. Like, don't expect that. Like all that's where it becomes a lot more tumultuous. That's where it's kind of like, okay, you guys are like leaning on these things that are making you an extreme, like you've basically monetized your gaming audience. And then here comes this game showing you don't have to be successful. And who are you arguing with when you're saying that that's not wrong? Are you arguing with the public? Are you arguing with yourself? Like,
yeah.
Who exactly are you trying to convince about this stuff? Like, and that's when it starts getting a little icky.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's when people's true intentions, like especially on a public level, start coming out a little bit more. Like, especially with some of the D4 stuff that's going around and stuff like that. It's kind of like, y'all may need to like, why exactly are you making games? Like, is it to deliver a quality product or is it to be, make sure those numbers on the bottom line are in black and like nice, big, thick black?
Well, that's where I get hung up and maybe I'm completely off base, but like a lot of the AAA devs don't actually have a say in terms of what gets made for a game. So they get tasked with like, hey, here's some MTX you got to make. And the AAA dev says, okay, that's my job. Let me go make some. It's not up to them at the end of the day. And that's where I kind of think like the argument of all of this falls apart for me. Cause it's like, the AAA devs they're doing their job. They're doing the directive.
There's a difference between like the people that are steering the ship and the people who are in the trenches, so to speak.
Sure.
And it's important to like differentiate those perspectives. Absolutely. But not all of them are the ones not making decisions. So it is absolutely fair to say that there are game devs that are in it for the money and who are not in it for the passion. It's also completely fair to say the exact opposite. There are people at Diablo 4 or at Blizzard who clearly love and bleed passion for making good games. There are also people who probably don't even play games and their job at Blizzard is to make those games make the most money. They're both game devs at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, there are these kind of like absolutist comments that go both ways. And it's kind of like, no, it's actually like a giant amalgamation of everyone that works at the company. Like just make sure the perspective is aligned properly in those kind of things.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone knows who you're talking about. It's a big umbrella. Yeah.
I guess I'm falling victim to the the reason that the conversation exists is because drama and Twitter and feeding the algo, and not what I'm saying. Like, well, the conversation, it's not that dire. Like, it's not that dramatic.
The person that says I agree doesn't get pushed to everyone.
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
A few controversial takes.
Yeah. But that's been what's taken over all of that stuff. And like I said, the IGN video, like I'm one that oftentimes will, upset is a weird word, but it's very easy, and I'm sure it's happening now by the second I mention IGN. That is a great way to get people to rally behind you, is be like, God, IGN sucks. And chat will be like, yeah, fuck them. Okay, sure. And then that video definitely came across of like hitting every bullet point that comes up in or around a Twitter thread or a Reddit thread of like, MTX bad, D4 bad, blah, blah, blah. Like it read like that is where it was coming from. And it read as if it was a giant, almost like rage bait, but they didn't necessarily say anything wrong at the same time. So there's like internal conflict of, I agree with this.
Clock is right twice a day, JP. Come on now.
Well, that's the thing.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
That's the thing. IGN never approaches or broaches any of this conversation to begin with, right? So that's why it was an anomaly for them to come out and say this in a video. But I think it's also, that gets into a whole nother conversation of IGN's emulating what the industry is, and the industry is talking heads on video, getting angry about certain things in the industry, and that's feeding into views. And that's probably what this is going to do to IGN, is like, hey, that video got like 15x our normal views. Let's get another one out there. What's another hot button subject that we can go and try to get views?
And this is IGN's, like, in front of us right now, their slow decline into Kotaku.
It's 100%. It's like, wait a minute, that got us so much more views.
Yep.
Like that was weird. Yeah. So
their next title is just called like D4 bad ?
But on the same coin, every comment I went and looked at the video, there's like 5,000 or 6,000 comments when I looked at it. Every single one was like, whoa, this is awesome. Keep doing this type of content, IGN. Like, this is really, you need to keep doing this. This is so much better. And I was like, am I in a bizarro world right now?
They love drama. They love it.
They're praising IGN. A CRPG is the most popular game in the world. Right
I know, right?
Like, what is fucking going on? It was absurd.
It took me a long fucking time to come to grips with the fact that I, oftentimes seek out that like negativity and doom scrolling and shit, like drama and shit like that. Like,
it's human nature.
It took me many years before I stopped being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
By saying like, I don't want to hear about this drama on my feed. It's like, yeah, well, I kind of do.
Look,
I kind of do.
There's a reason why last night the biggest streamers in the industry were talking and airing drama out, right? It's because everyone was super excited about it and wanted to watch all that shit. That reality shows. I mean, you could go that way with it too. Reality shows, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That was really embarrassing for all parties involved.
Yeah.
Just
just
throwing that out there.
We're not going to go into it. You can. I'll give you the links. Just go to LSL.
It's that.
What
it
is?
Okay.
What it is?
No,
Zeke,
I just don't care about.
It's adults. It's adults being children with literally hundreds of thousands of people watching them.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Okay.
It's the type of thing where it's like, I've been in Baldur's Gate, and I think a lot of us have, for a week, and we like poked our head up and just saw like drama.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly right.
Thank you.
I'm going back into Faerun, man. Fuck this place.
For me, I opened up live stream fails and I was like, I wonder if any other streamers have any funny Baldur's Gate 3 tips going on. And then by the time I got to like the top, like the 20th top thing, I was just like, oh, okay. This and everyone involved. Okay, I'll come back in like a week or two.
A lot of drama. Anyway,
for those asking about context, just no, we're not.
There's no reason. Yeah, you could very easily fight it yourself. Yeah, so I'm curious where this conversation goes. I would love to have like, I think Rami, our like bastion of game dev, would be a fun guest to have on to discuss this. Because regardless of all the conversation on Twitter and whatnot, Baldur's Gate 3 is an anomaly, and it will make ripples through the industry and affect games from here on out. It is that level of game that will
hopefully
have,
in a very good way.
Yeah, it'll have an impact.
It's like the Witcher 3 level of like gravity pull that will like adjust games from now on to be more like the way like a lot of games adjusted to be like Witcher 3. That Baldur's Gate is going to do that as well for a lot of mechanics they have in the game, because there's so many brilliant things in there.
Yeah.
Let's can we get like just a little bit out into the weeds as far as like what game devs have to learn from Baldur's Gate? Like the like we say that like, oh man, it's gonna raise the bar, but what's underneath the bar that is pushing it up?
I think one big thing is that the game works. It is a finished product that doesn't need months of patching.
Disclaimer: Dan is not at Act 3 yet.
I'm sorry.
Now, I haven't got to Act 3. From my experience with Divisional Sin 2, that was also the rough spot, but at least the first act was amazing.
Yes,
there are bugs.
First couple acts, yeah.
Bugs can be fixed and will be fixed, and they're doing what they can, but nothing I've run into yet has stopped me from playing it and enjoying it. It's all been just visual or annoying little things here and there. But you just don't feel... I don't feel like with a lot of AAA games where I pick it up, I play it, I feel bored, and then I feel like cheated afterwards, which happens with a lot of AAA games nowadays, where I feel like I didn't get what I paid for it. The game doesn't feel finished. It needs a lot of work. It needs patching. Like, it's just unfinished experience. Whereas I feel like this feels like a complete product where every inch of it is well thought out, excluding the bugs, which they will eventually fix.
They've already had like 3 hot fixes, I think, that have...
And the last one was a 200
bug
plus.
Yeah. And they're fixing what seems like where the majority of players are, so it makes sense that they're not at Act 3 yet, because that's crazy. 100.
For the record,
hours.
I'm JP's 20 plus hours in Act 3. I'm 10-ish hours in Act 3. Like, all the bugs I've encountered have been generally pretty minor. You know, save during a cutscene or reload to get a person to appear. A quest thing being out of order, cool. Refresh and do that in a different order. You're fine. Apparently, like as I think JP mentioned before the show, like all the story and characters and stuff are still at the exact quality level that it should be. It's just there's some technical and presentation stuff that needs to be worked out. They're clearly hard at work on it though.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll be wrapped up. And
just real quick, speaking of bugs, I just anybody who is in charge of this listening, give me my fucking underwear back. I want my underwear back. My Twitch underwear. I want those back.
Oh, you lost them?
They are gone now.
How'd
They're
you
gone.
lose
They're
them?
out of my inventory. They are absent. They are completely gone.
Someone stole your underwear?
I gotta fall back on the blue ones. I bought the early access purple underwear and I want them, damn it.
Okay.
They're
All
gone.
right. I didn't know that.
All right.
I didn't know that.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I recommend Lizelle's if you need something fancy to wear. She has very nice
Lizelle's
underwear.
got great underwear. Yeah, Zeke, I think you would particularly like it.
And you can wear other
haven't
people's
been
underwear.
there yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, on the subject of when I was talking about what I would answer as far as what's underneath the bar that's raising it is no CRPG, no RPG up to this point that I've played, and I went back and looked, and I was like, "You played Pathfinder, right?" 'Cause I was like, "I played it. I have 150 hours into it apparently." 2 years ago that I guess totally blanked out of my mind. But I played that. I played Solasta. I played a few D&D like RPG games and many hours of them. And what I think this Baldur's Gate does better than any of standout head and shoulders above is it's the closest to being Dungeons and Dragons tabletop of any game, in that use your imagination to solve a problem.
Yep.
And a lot of times it will work more so than it does in any other game leading up to it.
Yeah.
There are clever ways to do things,
To do everything.
it's fantastic. It's really fantastic. And I talked about this a little bit abstractly on my stream yesterday and the day before about well, I'm sure we'll get on the topic of saves coming and stuff. And I find like I do it probably less than I would do it in the previous games, because there are so many other solutions that you just like come upon sometimes by accident and shit like that. You're like, oh, if I put water over there and then I do that, and I can drag this and put that. Oh my god! And then you like do this, like you set up this whole thing and you watch it work.
Yeah,
and you're just like, holy shit! This is as close to like using my imagination as possible.
It's
that of any game that I've had so far.
It's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. It is. There are so many times, having played as much D&D as I have, where this game emulates what an actual D&D campaign would be like, and I've never experienced that in a video game to this degree. A lot of times they'll have like, if you go down this direct path and blah, 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 then you'll get like a cute cutscene. This game is just like, nah, if you want to get on top of that tower, you could stack 40 boxes on it and then use an arrow of teleportation and shoot your way over to the top. Because why not? Right? Like, fuck it. Let that work. If you want to do that, then go ahead. And that type of stuff is awesome to see. Because you don't get to experience that in so many other games. And a lot of that just comes down to like, that's also really hard, right? That's not an easy thing to accomplish in a game, to have that level of freedom. It's a little absurd to have that level of freedom. I think Sven even said that as much when he was on the show or in other interviews. Like, the things you can do in this game shouldn't be possible in most games, because it's not how games work. It's not how games are made. And they like went the distance and made it possible, which is wild.
Dude, I like the first thing I experienced, like first thing of that nature that I experienced in the game was there was a battle that I was probably underleveled for. I kind of wandered into it on accident. However, I won the battle because I was behind a door with no way for the enemy to get in, and I was on the other side of it. And I was just like,
Yep.
It took a lot of turns, but I actually got it done because the door was like magically sealed or something like that, so they couldn't do shit about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, that was the first
there's
fuck, I can do like clever or goofy shit like that and still win.
You get as a wizard, you can get arcane lock, and I'm pretty sure you can just lock people inside of places with that, and they're not able to open the door. So like, yeah, you can do wild shit with that.
No, if a door says like sturdy on it and they don't have magical weapons or whatever, they'll just sit there and like
hack at it. Yeah,
hit it, check the lock. Also, is that something you guys experience just real quick? When you close the door and they like it's their turn, like it's turn-based combat, and they go like 30 times.
Oh, I've never had that happen. No, they try to open and it's locked. Huh?
Dude, in the middle of a battle, no, but they'll check it. The same on their turn, they will check it like.
That's awesome.
30 was exaggerating, but they'll check it like 8-9 times.
I did not know that. Yeah.
Every time I close a door on an enemy, like, because once I discovered that, I'm like, I'm looking for doors every battle. I'm like, fuck yeah, close the door on you.
It's wild too, Z, because there's so many permutations of things that can happen in any single encounter, whether it's a social encounter or like a fight encounter, that the only way that they, being the developers, can have the game work the way it does is by playing it and going through that encounter and seeing the 30 different ways that it could be solved, right? Because like I've had so many people I've watched, after I complete a section, I'll just click through the friends list and look at different fights and see how someone else did a fight, right? Or just click in and be like, oh, what are they doing? And I'll tune in and they'll be using a void bulb or whatever to throw it because it creates a black hole because they want to suck everyone down into a pit. I'm just like,
or maybe a specific spider.
Yeah. Yeah. In that particular fight, Co, I saw that clip. I saw what you did. I shot a fire arrow at a thing, and I think this is what you did, but then it fell all the way down in the middle instead of the left. And that's when I just jumped down. And I was like, wait, where'd the spider go? What?
Yeah. The first time I did it, I just got my ass kicked by it. And then I came back later and I was like, okay, let me see if I can wait a second. And the bard has a special arrow that when he fires it will knock the target back 6 feet.
Oh, okay.
So the spider just kind of walks over to a corner and I'm just like, boop, he just goes flying over the edge and dies. But then I lost the loot. So I had to redo the fight normally.
Oh, okay. I I knocked someone off and did not lose the loot. If that, because I followed them down with Featherfall, because that's a thing you can do in the game.
Well, there you go.
And that's wild that like that shit exists. And they planned for it, right? Like the game plans for that type of shit, so you can have a conversation after it, and the characters reference a lot of that shit that happened.
Oh, dude,
it's wild how that happened. So
the reactive
often.
Dialogue in this game is actually crazy, especially when you go into the fact that like all of it's voice acted.
Yes,
most of it's mocap. Like, it's incredible how just like so much dialogue in the game is completely there and only based on a choice you made.
Yeah.
Not progressing through the story like every single player has to do. Like, you made a specific choice, and then all of a sudden the NPCs around you are talking about that choice you made when you could have done it like 5 other ways. And it's just like, oh my God, like, I'm so immersed right now.
Yeah.
Did you guys think, like, I don't know if you guys use Tasha's laughter, but I just, like, last night I came to the realization, like, every single voice actor they got had to do a hideous laughter voice line. Like, every single person that you can fight,
that's true,
probably had to do like, all right, we got to go through the hideous laughter, all right, let's go. And every single person you fight has to go like, it's fucking awesome. Like, to think of that.
Yeah. I read somewhere there's like 400 vicious mockery lines or something like that.
There's every time I think I've done vicious mockery probably 30 times, and I think I've only heard the same one twice.
That's crazy. I don't have a bard, so I have not. That's the other thing. 100+ hours in the game, there's just entire things I haven't experienced. And when I say things, it's like in the like 10+ classes, characters, cutscenes, interactions.
And there's tens of thousands of things you can click on, and every character will say something different about the thing you're clicking on.
Yeah.
Like, I found a body in a barrel, and every person had a funny line or a silly line when you click on that barrel to examine it as each character, like a different way to say something. Like, that level of depth is insane.
Here's the most
to give you a little behind the scenes thing here. When you meet my character in the game, my entire interaction can be 5-10 lines, depending on what you do. That character has over 200 recorded lines.
Because it just goes places?
Because of all the different scenarios that it can be. He has individual lines based on every different class that talks to him. And they're all unique and based on what that class is.
And that's one character. That extends through the game. Yeah.
That extends to pretty much, like, anytime you hear a character reference a class or anything like that, you can assume that it is the different dialogue for each. Not like different lines with just like the class name switched.
Yeah.
But like for my guy, like, every class has its own like skit associated with it, which in some cases is like multiple lines or paragraphs of lines.
I'm sure that's
so it's wild, and that's only, and again, it's a side character. So main characters are main backbone characters. Entire scenarios can unravel depending on, like, not even just your character class, what god you worship of your character class. Like depending on what you pick as a cleric, can apparently have big ramifications and tons of different dialogue choices and stuff like that. So it's like, it's wild, man.
Yeah.
So just to clear this up, JP and Co. you guys are in Act 3, yeah?
Yes. I'm at the beginning of Act 3. JP is.
I'm like, I don't know where I'm 50, 60% of the way through, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So Act 3. I heard, Dan, you just finished Act 2?
Yeah, I just beat Act 2 and about to start Act 3.
Okay. And I don't know,
Act 1-ish.
60% through Act 1 with 35 hours.
Yeah. There's 3 acts for people that are curious to judge where people. But that's somewhat misleading because lengthwise, Act 1 is 30 to 60, 30 to 70. Act 2 is probably the shortest, and Act 3 might be the longest. Like, it seems that
there's a lot of confusing information going on about that.
In what way?
The first thing I heard was that Act 2 and 3 combined were about the same size as Act 1. I spent 55 hours in Act 1 and like 30+ hours in Act 2. So, and I know that Act 3 is going to take me significant. Like I've literally been playing it 10 hours and I've explored like the bottom 20% of the first map. Yeah, like and I mean it's been a thing.
Yeah.
So, I've heard Act 3 is super long. I've heard people like I've heard people say Act 3 is if you do everything, it's the longest act in the game. Which is wild. Like that's completely wild.
And that said, you don't have you can go from like point A to point B and forget everything else.
Oh, for sure.
Around.
Absolutely.
They
you can just go
the,
straight down it.
It was funny because they tweeted out that infographic and it was like 387 people beat the game in the first weekend, which is crazy.
Can we put that up? And I'll look at it together.
Yeah, we could talk
about
that.
Sorry. I just love that.
It does have Act 1 spoilers in it, I guess, a tiny bit, but that's it. Let me find it one sec. Also, Zeke, you were talking about. I want to bring it back to your conversation.
Yeah. And as someone just pointed out in chat, always keep in mind whenever we're talking about metrics is that this game is highly, 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 highly replayable.
Yes.
So it's like this is not only like a single playthrough. Like you could literally play the game again and play almost like a different game based on your choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely wild.
Yeah. Zeke, to talk about your like what does this game do better? Everything we've said, I don't know how other games do that. Because it all just comes down to them being like very good at their craft and like I would say we sound like if you boil it down, it's the idea of just like get good. Because
I honestly
that's what they did.
You know what it feels like to me? It feels like they got like a group together and did a D&D session brainstorm. They were like, okay, we're going to do a D&D session and we're going to stop periodically and we're going to go, can we make that happen in the game? Is there a thing that we can do to make that happen?
And if not, how do we make it happen? Like what if we translate that to our game, what would that look like and how can we facilitate it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's got to be lots like, cause I talked about, save scumming and getting that stuff. Like I think most people save scum. And for different reasons. Like I have different reasons than Co or Dan or JP for save scumming. My usual save scum is based on information. Like I want the story. So if like I choose a choice and I get this story, I want to go back and choose the other choice and get the other side of the story and stuff like that. I love like all the info and the justification that I do, like the mental gymnastics that I do in my head to justify that shit is because in D&D, like I use this example that I just came up with. I was like, okay, I asked somebody about information about a person. Like, do you know person? Persuasion check failed. In D&D, I can go, okay, I can ask this guy about person, or I can ask this person about person, or I can even put a notice in the middle of town going, have you seen person?
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit. It's close, but not quite all the way because if you fail a persuasion check in game, video games, there's, consequences. You can't do everything your imagination can come up with, but it's goddamn close.
It's as close.
Also, I don't really think it's fair to say that most people save scum. A lot of us, like myself, are just allergic to failure, and that leads to spasms that where the F8 key may get hit. But I mean, I don't think I've ever save scummed this game.
Zeke, it's wild because you said, what did we say? I mostly save scum so far to see the wild sex scenes. Like that's what my
JP, I think you fall into a category. I think that's a category.
I want to see like how fucking weird this game gets. And let me tell you, I'm shocked at how fucking weird this game gets.
And you are a weird dude.
And I'm sitting back here in Act 1 going, I got a kiss.
Dude,
like I haven't done anything yet. Like I haven't gotten that far. I think in 35 hours, I think I've long rested. I want less than 6 times.
Man, there are.
Okay, real quick, just before we move on, I just want to say this game wants you to long rest like as much as you possibly can.
Say that
like for the love of God, there are many, many, many threads in this game, especially apparently in Act 3, where they will only progress if you long rest, and if you play through the game far enough without seeing those scenes, then it will block or stop entire quest lines.
Yeah.
So
well, fuck,
this.
Man. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
thankfully, you're in Act 1.
Okay.
Act 1's fine for the most part.
Act 1's okay for the most part.
Like a few of them in a row.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. No, well, that's the thing. The game doesn't do super well if you just long rest, like a bunch in a row. Sometimes you have to like do stuff in game before you do it again. So especially in Act 3, anytime you do like a major fight, or even when you complete a major quest, even if you don't need to, just pop a long rest. There's some forum junkies that are, to their credit, and they're doing God's work, are trying to compile everything affected by long rest so people know exactly if they're missing something. And from what I understand, there's very little. There's like a couple things, but very little you will miss out on by long resting. So it's almost always more advantageous to long rest far more than you think you need to make sure you're fully caught up.
Yeah. I will also say don't long rest too much, because there are time sensitive things in the game that I found out.
There are things. Now here's the thing, and this is one of the things these guys are trying to track over on the Reddit. There are some things that feel time sensitive, but they're actually based on action completion. So like one thing that a lot of people were very confused about is, could you slight spoiler about early access. I'm not going to say what exactly it was.
Okay.
But there's a certain place in Act 1 that is potentially being attacked by another group. And there's been this big thing where it's like, if you long rest too much, can that cause the thing? And there was this huge thing going around where people were like, yeah, careful about long resting. They'll trigger this event with them, et cetera, et cetera. But from what I understand, it turns out you have to go to another place and talk to a person. And then it's just the long rest after that. If you don't do it, then it triggers it. So that made a lot of people think like long resting could make this stuff happen.
Yeah.
But the short answer is that they're trying to nail down exactly mechanically how this stuff works. Err on the side of caution, but most of the time, more long rest is better to move stuff forward.
Yeah.
Because, you don't want to miss any of the big stuff.
I've only seen 2 instances in the game where like you don't want to rest because there's something that you're blatantly aware of is happening. Like you can see it. There's like something involving fire and something involving poison at one point. Like those 2 things,
yes,
are sensitive to resting, but outside of that, I haven't seen anything else.
And to their credit, there is one thing involving poison where if you go to long rest, it shows your character in the rest camp, and he goes, I bet if I do this, that these guys might have some problems. I can rest anyway, but I should keep that in mind. And it's like, that's the game, like warning you. Warning.
Okay.
Interesting.
So since I'm not sure what you guys are talking about, because I probably haven't gotten there yet. I will just say, if they give you cues, they will give you cues not to long rest if there's urgency needed.
That's what they're trying to nail down.
For the most part,
it seems like that is the case, but there may be a few things that either aren't triggering properly or still need those warnings. But those are absolutely in the game. There are certainly times where if you go to long rest, something will tell you, careful doing this.
Got it.
Yeah, makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't. We were talking about. We were talking about the saves coming stuff.
Infographic.
Yeah, we can bring up the infographic as well. Is it spoilers to say what I told you about earlier before we started the show about that particular sex scene? Should I keep that to myself? Because I really want to say how crazy this game can get.
I know how much you want to talk about this.
I would say no.
Papa, here's the thing. A lot of people are not going to see that scene. So I would pop up a spoiler tag, do a brief little ditty.
I won't say any names.
Early warning.
I'm just going to say the type of sex.
Is it in Act 1?
No. Spoilers.
Okay.
Spoilers are up.
Okay.
You do not want sexy spoilers.
No.
Okay.
You can have an incestual foursome. If that's what you're into.
I'm gonna this is a double spoiler. You can have a gale bang.
Yep. There's one that that is giga spoilers that I will not say, but it's actually more shocking than the incestual foursome. And I don't know if any of you have, knowing where you're at, I don't think you've seen it yet, but yeah, it gets wild. Anyways, that's it. We're good.
All right.
That's all. The game's horny as
whatever
fuck.
you said, chat just fucking blew up.
The game is horny as fuck.
I like that.
Yes.
Shout out to Manfred in chat. But can we bang a mind flayer? I don't know. Jury's still out on that. It's a great question. Tentacles.
Man. Anyways, I would not read chat after saying that, Co.
Okay, well.
I
my.
would not read chat. This is the infographic they put out. 368 players finished the game in the first weekend. 90. I thought this was interesting. 93% of characters rolled a custom character, or players rolled a custom character.
Larian did directly recommend that. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Players.
I wonder what that number would have been if Sven hadn't said that.
Well,
I think a lot of fans came from DOS 2, where I think it's very you're very locked into a narrative, and I think one of the things that Baldur's Gate 3 was really pushing is make your own narrative. So it was kind of, I feel like the whole marketing was skewed towards you do you, man.
Yeah.
Or woman, whatever you are.
Well,
Absolutely.
and the other thing is that the amount of people or the amount of players that actually saw that Sven interview and saw him say that is probably minuscule compared to the actual amount of people that are playing the game.
And well, he didn't just say it there. He said it in multiple interviews. Yeah,
I still stand by what I said. Like, people are playing this game that have no idea who Sven even is.
Fair. Absolutely.
No, I'm just wondering, like, did it move the percent like 2 or like 10? Just
yeah, curious. I don't know. That's good.
Well,
good question.
Another thing is I think a lot of the fun in D&D is making your character. I mean, it comes to the last stat on this page.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird when you're playing a character that someone else made. Kind of,
it is.
Kind of changes the feel
for
a little bit.
And a lot of people just like to make characters. Like, some people
100%.
hated The Witcher 3 because you couldn't make a character.
Couldn't make a
you
character.
Had to play as Geralt.
Yep.
Even though the game's amazing. Like, some people just love to make characters and they won't play a game unless they can.
Yeah, good point.
That's why it's so cool in Witcher 4 that you can make your own and then choose your school and stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
We can all hope. We'll see. Maybe Zeke, maybe that's what the game industry can learn.
What's that?
Let people make their own characters in the story instead of thrusting origin stories on people. Give them the choice. Again, a scope that it's very hard to like teach. I don't know if the industry can learn that, because it just comes down to how much money do you have to fund the development of that shit.
And time and effort.
Yes.
It's not even just money.
It's a culmination of all
three. It just takes so much more. It takes so much more effort to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Players spend a combined 88 years in character creation. Makes sense. Nearly 10% of characters spent in at least an hour in character creation.
To that point.
That makes sense.
To that point, this was one of those weird, like one of those rare games where I just sat there and I was just like, I'm going to be playing this game for 100, probably 100, at least 100 plus hours. And I'm stuck. Like, I can respec and stuff, but like, I want to make the right choices, and there's so many, and you're just like, okay, do I do magic user? Do I do there's always a tank in the party. Do I tank? Like, like that kind of shit. Like, what if I don't like the person who's good at looting, pickpocketing?
And then it's even wilder.
Do I be that person?
Well, then it's even wilder when you consider and fundamentally realize that you can respec your entire party. So it's like, not only do I don't need to account for anyone else. I can just custom tailor them to whatever I pick. And then it's like, the options are literally everything. You can do whatever you want.
There is,
which is a total level of freedom in CRPGs that I'm not used to.
Do you guys
wild.
Do you guys find yourself, because I find myself in the camp of like, I only changed one character to a similar class and I didn't touch anyone else for the only sake of being, I didn't want to like change the RP factor of it, which is weird. But is that did you guys just change it willy-nilly and make it fit your whatever you wanted, or were there any rules that you had for yourself when it came to like changing class or specs or anything like that for your characters?
Dan?
Funny enough, I did exactly what you did.
For my characters, I kept their class in line with what their storyline was going. Like, for Shadowheart, she's a cleric that's spec'd into trickery, which is a terrible spec for a cleric. And I stuck it out and I kept it for story reasons, and I just learned that, man, this
sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Bad. This cleric school was bad. I hate it. But I kept it because it's her story, and I'm just going. I don't want to change her. I treat it like this is someone else's character. I don't want to change their character, who they are.
Yeah.
But on my second playthrough, I'm going to make everyone exactly what I want them to be. I won't
Sure.
care about it.
Yeah. With Zeke, where you fit into that?
I haven't touched anything. I haven't touched a single like. I haven't wanted to. I guess.
Yeah.
The only thing that I find kind of tedious is that if I come upon like a certain situation that someone is, better suited for, I have to go to camp and I have to go get them, then I have to bring them and that kind of stuff. That's kind of tedious, but you'd have to do that really anyway.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I chose Bard. Being, a jack of all trades, you can do a lot of different stuff as a Bard.
Sure.
And like my Bard is just like a multi-tool. It's just a utility. Like she barely has her own like specific identity. She's just like, I can lockpick in a pinch. I can, do some crowd control if you got no one else. You know, like you can do that shit. Like I love that. That's why I picked Bard.
Right.
Because it seemed like the most versatile character that I always want with me.
Sure. Yeah. You talked about like going to camp. I've pretty much stuck with the same group throughout the entire playthrough. I don't swap characters. So much so that like I'm 100 plus hours into the game. I went to camp to talk to someone and someone in my chat was like, you get that question the first time you talk to that person. And I'm like, well, I don't. I'm sorry. I didn't talk to this person.
That's actually a good question. Like I go personally, my party, I go chunks of time with each party member.
Yeah.
Like because I still haven't found like the party, that I'm like, yeah. So I went with like, okay, I got a spellcaster, I got someone who could pick locks, I got me as the talker, and I got someone who can, take a hit or whatever.
Right.
Like, filling the roles. And then I'm like, that person that can take a hit, I really don't care for them. Like as their personality at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to go with a different squad now.
I had a major character just straight up leave the party because I didn't bring them into something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that could happen.
Like I did a thing and then the character left and was like, so-and-so has left your character or your party permanently. And I was just like, oh, sucks to suck, bitch. Like I didn't care that I lost her. It was fine. I wasn't using her.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
Yeah, I didn't. The only thing I missed out on is I tuned into, I was watching Dan this morning before we got started. And I saw a cutscene that happens if you don't do what I did. I was like, shit, now I feel kind of bad because I understand why the character was doing what they were doing because of what happened in your cutscene. So I do feel a little bit bad about that I'm like missing out on content. But it's fine. Like there's multiple playthroughs.
You gotta get okay with that though.
Yeah, because you're gonna miss content.
Any playthrough.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss content.
You're gonna miss content.
My rule is like, and also when you switch to somebody, you have to level them up. You got to gear them out. There's so many gear slots. It's like a big pain. But like, I try to bring people in that like I think will have unique lines in an area. Like if it's their quest, or we'll go there.
I'll tell you too.
Swap someone out.
Yeah.
I will do
if
that
you guys
as well.
like going to a Githyanki area, I want to bring the Githyanki character. Maybe she might have a unique line or something.
One reason I've loved streaming this game is because chat will always tell yo, this character has lines here. This character has, bring this character. And it's like, okay, cool.
There's the flip side. If you don't bring them, there's also lines that you won't get if you do bring them.
That's true.
And so I've like the Gith area.
Oh, they get salty if they don't get to go
to
the place they're supposed to go.
They might even leave. They might even leave your party, for instance.
Yeah. JP knows. JP knows.
Like they might be real pissed off about it.
I told you I wanted to kill them, guys. Why didn't you bring me to kill them, guys?
Yeah.
God.
That stuff is awesome. Are you guys? I'm curious. We're talking about characters. How much? Dan, I know you to be a D&D vet. Zeke, not a D&D vet in the way that I would expect a power game. Cole, you haven't played much D&D. Are you guys finding yourself like choosing power gamey options for your characters? Or is it just like what you think is fun? Because I'm a little bit of both. Like my character, straight broken. Like literally, I'm doing 150.
And what are you?
I'm a monk. I'm doing 150 damage a turn. I have 23 or 21 AC. I have like 40 movement. Like I could go into most fights and not get hurt.
It's in this game.
It's OP as fuck if you spec it a certain way. I'm playing a tavern brawler monk, and so a lot of times my chat is like, why do you have 8 decks on a monk? That's like the main stat because it has the star next to it. If you pick tavern brawler and you go unarmed, so I don't use weapons, your strength bonus applies to all of your fist attacks. And so I do at level 12 now, which is max level, I do D8 plus 15 on an unarmed strike. And if you subclass it with rogue level 3, you get a second bonus action. So I go punch, punch, fury of blows, and it's like 150 damage. And if you use an elixir of bloodlust, you get another attack after that if you kill an enemy. So you do 150 damage, kill an enemy, 100. You just constantly like bounce around, just kill everyone. And I'm the Shadow Monk, so I can teleport into shadows on a bonus action. So like the character's just broken. But that's because I made it. You don't have to play the game at all like that. You can go for like, I want to play a druid that changes into an owlbear. And I'm going to use that owlbear like Elohim did and jump from a cliff and do 800 damage because of fall damage. So you can do a lot of things, but I'm curious for you guys, are you more power gamey with it, or are you doing what you're interested in is like the class fantasy?
For me, I'm power gamer because I'm on tactician and I have to like,
yeah,
I'm worried about someone being weak. My team is like super optimized because I have a lot of experience with building characters, so I build them the way like I would build them if I was playing 5th edition, except for the cleric, which I've been dealing with. But yeah, it's been. I felt like the game is super balanced. That like whether you have like a super power team or not want a super power team, like they have a very good way of balancing every encounter, and I've never felt like overwhelmed. It feels really good so far.
Yeah, I would agree. Zeke, where are you at in terms of like the power gamey aspect or class fantasy? Like, are you siding one direction?
I'm not looking up any of that. Like, I'm not looking up any power gaming stuff. Like, I mean, I won't like hinder myself. You know, like if it's an item that goes well with a character, I'll give it to him. Like, for sure. If I find like an overpowered weapon, I'm not gonna not use it.
Would you?
Or whatever.
Let me ask you this.
I haven't found one yet, but I'm just saying, like, if I found like a hammer of God strength or whatever the fuck, I would definitely give it to him and use it liberally.
Would you respec a character to use an item that you find?
No.
Okay. I think that might be the line of like how where you want to be power gaming, because I definitely have. Okay. 100% I have.
But I will do this. And I have done this. I went to a fight. The fight was hard. I lost. I went back to camp. Saw that I had a couple of characters that had level ups. I leveled them up and gave them skills to beat that fight. And I kept them. Like, I kept the skills that they used to beat that fight. And that's as far as like, I guess, power gaming I'll go. But like, I will gear myself towards a situation if it's not too involved. But I think one of the reasons why I don't do that is because I like figuring out alternate solutions rather than just bulldozing an enemy.
Yeah.
I look for other ways to like, okay, what if I throw a distraction out there and then I do my door strat and just fucking close the door behind them or shit like that. And then I'm like, hey, I'm in here. You can't come in. I'm just going to, wander around and loot everything, that kind of shit. Like, I love that idea. Like, and I have nothing against the way anyone plays these games. Like, absolutely not. I don't look down upon.
There's no correct way to play. Yeah.
No. I don't look down upon that. But I've found so many different, like discoveries of things that I can use in the future by not having the, overpowered characters or even properly powered characters. Like, if I go into a situation, I'm very stubborn. Like, I'm under level for this, but I'm not gonna go fucking back and level up for this. I'm gonna figure out a way
to do it. Yeah.
And you might even call it cheese, but I call it strategy.
I don't know if there is cheese in this.
Strategies.
Yeah, there's
strategy.
You find solutions to a puzzle. Like that's how it goes.
And yes, I am playing.
I mean, the
Tactician.
only time I think cheese comes into play is if you're using knowledge that you haven't gained yet in the playthrough. That's when there's cheese. Like that, and that's okay. I mean, again, it's okay. But like for instance, a good example is somebody was like, "Yeah, so I knew where this certain mob was going to teleport after she talked to me, so I lined the area she was going to teleport to with explosive barrels, and then I blew those up the second she teleported." And it's like,
dude,
like you can do that, but at the same time, like that actually is a little cheap.
So in the same way,
But then again, if you go to the battle and die, and then that, like, how do you not act on that knowledge?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I mean,
look, it's so funny.
That's more meta than anything. Yeah, but
I started.
It depends on how you define cheese.
Free scrolling TikTok again because I'm pretty far in the game, so I'm not afraid of spoilers. The level that people have like figured out how to address certain fights is like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom levels of craziness. I saw someone throw they're the little like you have a shit ton of them. It starts with a D. They're like little vials of fire.
Alchemist fire.
So people are going into what you just said, Ko. Like they're seeing where a fight is, or seeing where a group of people are that they're about to aggro. They'll just lay alchemist fire all around the ground.
Yep.
And then they'll walk back and just like plink an arrow over there. It's just like napalm the entire area.
The best part is you can chain them like out of a room, and then they're like boom, boom, boom.
You can domino effect them. It's crazy. It's awesome.
But that's the thing, though. That's what I love about this is that doesn't strike me as cheese. That's like
it's
a
smart.
strat that you learn.
That's being creative.
You can use over and over, like the fucking door. Dude, if I see a door that I can lock on you and peek out and blink, I'm fucking doing it.
The best one I've seen is rangers that always have a candle in their inventory because they put the candle down next to them and then dip their arrow into it so their arrows are always on fire. And the fact that the game allows you to do that is so fucking cool. Like they thought of that and they're like, yeah, that works. Sure.
And here I'm thinking that you have to have like a special arrow because they sell magical flaming arrows or you find them.
Yeah.
And here
there's
I'm
an
thinking
entire
like,
dip
what is
command.
The dip mechanic is only for like poison and stuff. Like you can dip it in poison and do that shit. I didn't even think about like dipping an arrow in fire and having almost the exact same effect as a magical arrow that sells for like, whatever, 50 gold or whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder how many other things you can do.
I just put it in a candle, dude.
You can put bombs into a backpack and then throw the backpack, and that's a big ass bomb if you want.
I did something kind of cheesy. Like you can summon creatures in this game.
Yeah.
And then for some reason guards don't like when you summon creatures, so they're like,
I don't
you can't
like
be
that.
here.
Yeah, I
you
hate
can be
that.
here. Like I noticed that they would follow him, so I had the creature go right next to a cliff, and then we just had my other party members push them in. So we completely avoided the whole fight.
I would not classify that as cheesy at all. That's their
great.
fault. Like that's creative use of game mechanics. That's not cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I haven't found out what I'm going to do with it. There's a point in the game where you can get a barrel, and there's a certain type of enemy in said barrel, and you can just put the barrel in your inventory, and I've had that since Act 1. I just have a barrel with an enemy in it, and I haven't decided where I'm going to unleash the barrel yet. But
okay,
that's also wild.
This is going to be a deep cut, and probably not a lot of people are going to know what I'm talking about, but there's this older comic that was around for a while called Knights of the Dinner Table.
Okay.
And it's this old comic, and it's just this like, hand-drawn pencil thing, like comic strippy, about like friends that get around a D&D table and are just really like tropey. Like they just like do all the like power gaming and like it's us versus the DM, all that kind of shit.
Sure.
And they had a storyline where they had a bag of holding, like a huge bag of holding, and they had like armies of shit in there, and then they forgot about it, and like we like, ooh. So I'm just picturing like that's like you open that barrel, like we probably should have gave this guy water or fucking food or something because he He's not alive anymore.
Yeah, Zeke, have you found a flask in Act 1?
It's a flask I would remember, I'm guessing.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Probably not.
Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind. I will stop that conversation.
Is it a pretty flask? Because I found a pretty flask I never could find a use for.
You would understand about a flask if I
I
said.
also found something that looks like a healing potion that I haven't found a use for too.
That I don't know.
Hmm.
The flask is in a.
Oh no! I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm spoilers.
No, I think I know what you're talking about, and it was one of those story curious things where I was like, okay, I was told not to do this, but I'm gonna do this, and I went, okay, now I know, and I'm gonna reload and not do the thing because I was not supposed to.
Was it open a chest to find a flask?
Yep.
Did you open that flask?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope. I am D&D UPS. I am just going. I have not done the quest. Like I haven't finished it yet. So I want to see what happens. Like when
it's in a cave.
This is my plan, JP. This is my plan, JP. I'm going to have it in my hands, and I'm going to quick save, and I'm going to go. Here you go. Or I'm going to go. Before I give this to you, boop.
You should open that.
I'm going to do that. I will. Before, but that's my plan the whole time.
Yeah. Open the flask. Oh, I didn't. That's wild. Ray the Red. Okay. Apparently, if you don't open that flask, shows up in Act 3 again.
Ooh.
Which is fucking crazy. I would love to see what that looks like. I didn't know that. I got the flask and was like, "Yep, I'm opening this. I want some XP." Type deal.
You guys have this panic where like you don't want to sell anything that you haven't found use for because you're like,
no, I'm a hoarder.
Later.
You can say you can label. I'm a hoarder. I've got every magical item in the game in my camp. Yeah.
It's like this isn't a pipe. This is someone's name's pipe. I got to hold on to it. What if I run into this person at some point? You know.
If it has any other name besides bow +1, I'll sell those. But if it has like smiting or Dan's bow or like something like that, I'll be like, I can't. I might meet Dan. I might meet Dan later on, and I got to give Dan his bow.
Dude, for the longest time, I was like, I'm gonna keep all these paintings, but let me just have all these paintings in a bag in my camp. And then there was a point where it's like, I'm fucking poor. Like I need to sell some paintings. I need to get rid of these jewels. I need to get rid of these ingots. You gotta up your
charisma, buddy. You just didn't know that. You didn't know. It's okay.
I know. It's yeah. I am 100% a hoarder, Dan. I think you're in company. I think Ko is as well. I think he's.
My stash tab is so full of stuff that I might need. I don't know if I need them later. I don't know if it belongs to a quest NPC. There's so many things.
When you say stash tab, what does that mean?
Oh, the traveler chest in the camp.
Yeah,
the traveler chest. Okay. I was just making sure there wasn't a different thing.
Bank.
It's like the. Is the inventory sorting system just
kinda
not?
Sucks.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not because I want to sort by type. And then I'm like, why is there an apple in the middle of my fucking weapons here, dude? Like, I sorted by type. Apple is not I mean, it could be an improvised weapon, but it's not what you would think of as a weapon.
Yeah. I would say, like, the inventory system is the thing that I constantly find myself complaining about. But it's completely serviceable, and it's not like... It's not bad. I just want more. To do like more, I want to be able when I go to the stash, for example, to like drag it across my entire screen instead of just drag it vertically for like a 5x60 grid type deal.
Party management also needs a little love, like trying to switch party people out. You gotta like talk to them, send them away, then go talk to them, get them in your party.
I'm curious. I'm curious for both Ko and Dan on this. how do you guys feel about, or have you dove into the idea of invisibility on enemies in combat? And is it, am I bad or is it absolute fucking dog shit?
Or what?
Say that question again.
When enemies cast invis in a fight, I even have perma C invis, and it doesn't matter. They fucking save every goddamn round, and I'll be like, well, let me try to AOE them out. Nope, saved on. It's a fucking fireball. What did you do? Jump 2 feet? Like he somehow saved. So you're still like, I hate invisibility in this game. They made it so strong on enemies, and it's so bad on the party. I don't know if that's just me or if that's how that works. I'm curious if you two have dove into it at all, or even encountered it.
Yeah, I don't think I've encountered too many people that invis, to be honest. It's not been, and I too have perma C invis for reasons.
Yeah.
We all
And,
did that thing,
Yeah.
I'm like, I permanently, like, I don't know if they're talking, like you're talking about like they drink potions, because that wouldn't work, but like I have silence on like command, like immediately if I see a spellcaster, I'm just like,
yeah, it's very. I tweeted about this, and there's no spoilers at all. There's a particular encounter / area in Act 3 where yesterday I was like, I'm not going to do this quest. Fuck this entire area. This is not fun. I'm leaving. Fuck this. I'm so upset. And that was the first time I've ever done that.
You want to know what covers spells to deal with invisibility?
Well, I know them all. I know like Fairy Fire. I know no matter what, it's like, oh, I saved.
Have you tried Create Water?
No, what is that? Can you see the footsteps or something?
It makes them wet. So the water falls and you can see their outline.
I don't even know if I have a Create. I guess I would have that on like my Druid. That would work.
That's
I
cool.
Suppose. Yeah. Most of the time I just like.
You can get that on a caster, I think, like any wizard.
Okay.
Get it.
Most of the time I
also
would.
A staff.
Shadowheart would have it. Well, that's weird. I didn't know that.
We just revealed the character that left your party, did we?
Only you had her. Damn.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess I will ask the question again once you guys have done the encounter that I'm referencing. Because like when I was there, a lot of people in my chat were like, "No, this entire place sucks. This is the worst in the game," type deal. But we'll see.
Act 1?
No, it's an Act 3. You haven't gotten to it yet.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, for me, that's the only thing where I've gotten like super frustrated is the invisibility rules in the game. Seem to suck, but I don't know if that's just me and I'm not combating it properly. I eventually went back and solved the quest and moved forward, but maybe I'll try the water trick. That seems like a smart one. Because I thought like Fairy Fire or fucking sea invisibility would work on the character, and they just nope, we're gonna save. I don't know if the DC is super high or what, but
or you could level the playing field like that. I'm just like, I love coming up with D&D like solutions. Like you can level the playing field by darkness or fog clouding your characters, so they have, you know, they're pretty much invisible now too. You can't see in here.
It's weird because I don't use a lot of that stuff. I don't know if you guys have, but a lot of times when it's like, do you want to create darkness or do you want to hit for 20 damage? I usually err on the side of like, I'm going to hit for 20 damage, but it might be better to like create that type of stuff. I
love using that kind of stuff. The like battlefield manipulation things, like making a cloud of darkness, having your mage pop out of it, shoot something, and then pop back inside of it so they can't be shot.
Yeah.
Or like blocking off archers in the distance, that kind of stuff. I love controlling the battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of opposite in that regard because I'm just like,
no, it was
okay,
like
let's go. Let's do damage.
One of the first fights that I got into was the opposing team was using fog cloud, and I was like, now wait a minute, you guys just did me a fucking favor. Oddly enough,
sure,
because they were like, fog cloud on you, now you're blind. Well, sure, but I can just go whoop, whoop.
Yeah. No, we're all playing on tactician, right?
Yeah, I am. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. difficulty wise, how do you feel about the game? I wish there was a harder difficulty.
If I would stop being able to talk myself out of the hardest fights, I'll let you know.
Yeah, my character also has high charisma, so there you can talk your way out of a lot of fights.
I've done that.
The best one so far is I had this chatter get actually angry at me because he kept on saying for like 10 minutes in a dungeon, like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this fight. Oh, he's gonna get his ass. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it." And then I got up to the fight and I literally convinced the boss to kill himself. And then he was just like,
Sure, yeah.
There was one.
I feel like Captain America, like, I understood that reference because I did the same thing.
Nope.
yeah.
There was one fight that was extremely difficult, but then I reloaded the save and was able to convince the boss to kill himself, and it was much easier.
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to
trying
to think like what the hardest fight would be that I've done so far. It's probably
some of the fights have been difficult, but I have to say that none of them, like, I'd say it's not nearly as challenging as I was expecting.
yeah.
Granted, I'm not min-maxing, but I am doing what you said. Like, I found a pair of gloves that set my dexterity to 18.
Yep.
So I was like, whoop, respec into 8 dex, like, let's go. Yep. And then I just put, it everywhere else. And, I've respect a couple characters I've respect most characters to make them better at what they do. Not really like changing classes or anything, but, I've made them better, taken specific feats or re-rolled base stats, stuff like that.
I don't,
and I play a lot of CRPGs too. That being said, like, I'm certainly not doing everything I can to make combat easy, and combat has been pretty easy.
It's been pretty easy. I will also say, and
so far,
I don't know if this is a CRPG thing or if this is a Larian thing, but if you get a lot of pets in this game, it's pretty easy. Like, the action economy is like pretty strong.
It's the turn-based. It's the turn-based.
I think it's the turn, but like it. I think
the tabletop game suffers from that too. When like there's one
you get
boss
too many,
and then 5 players, it's just there's too many actions happening.
Yeah. At one point last night, I think I had like 18 pets in a fight, and it was just like. And 6 of those pets, when they hit, paralyze the enemy on a failed DC save. So it's like just fucking completely broken.
We need a modder to make like a super hard mode where they take every fight and like beef everything up for us, for power gamers that are like trying to break stuff.
The funniest part though is you can definitely see why they stopped at 12, because now being level 12, I think you guys are what, 10 or 11 at the start of Act 3? Being level 12 and like having access to a lot of the spells, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say there's also hidden spells that you can find. Those are like so unbelievably strong that if they went to like the next spell level, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you play, like how you put that in a game.
That's another D&D thing too, man. Like, you get like up to like 15, 6th level, 15, 16. Like, you're godlike almost.
You're a god. Yeah, you're a god. Yeah. It's very, very ridiculous.
So good to know that they do cap it at 12. That's a wise decision for sure. And also, like, if you get up to like even getting up to level, I'm sure you guys are experiencing this. Like, there's. Well, maybe not you, JP, since you're a power gamer. You're like, this, I press the kill button, and the kill button kills.
There is a kill button, yeah.
But I know, yeah, I'm aware. But, like, for me, personally, like, I would sit there and go, like, I have 70 options every turn for every character. Like,
oh, that's very true, yeah. I've definitely played, like Magic Missiles, probably the most used spell in my game. It's so stupidly strong. And it scales. Like, if you get an Evocation Wizard, it adds your int modifier. I have an item that adds my charisma modifier to that as well. So it's doing like 10d13 or something if I cast it at like a 6th level spell. So like it just machine guns motherfuckers in a fight. It's just broken.
I love
completely
the old
broken.
reliable fireball. It's such a good spell. It just hits so hard. It's
Yeah.
big AoE.
Are you guys? Is everyone
I
using
got
evocation?
spec as an ice mage. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So everyone's evocation on Gale then?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're using ice
Nope.
mage, Co?
I have somehow managed to find a bunch of items that have like revolved around ice skills.
Freezing.
So
yeah.
I actually have him like I have him doing like ice cantrips and a lot of ice stuff, and it's working great.
Yeah. There's
I am
good stuff.
divination spec.
On Gale.
Yep, because it's roleplay. Because it's he gives you like basically 2 lucky dice.
Oh, and so you can like save a
Mhm.
check or reroll a spell. Is that what it rerolls a dice, right? That's what Div does.
It gives you 2 dice per day, meaning it rolls 2 d20s, and it gives you like whatever the result of those 2 d20s are. You can use them like if you roll a 3 and a 17, you can use the 3 against your enemy and a 17 to pass something.
Got it.
Or if you roll 2 17s, that's just 2 for you, or 2 low ones, that's just 2 against them.
Sure.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also we can kind of talk about the itemization in the game. The items are really good, so much better than like most 5e items I've ever seen, because they just straight up give you like subclass options. Like if you're playing a champion in this game, respec, because there's no reason to play champion at all with what some of the items give you. You can get your crit down to like you crit on a 15 or something if you stack all of the items. And so there's a lot of stuff where it's like they take so much out from other classes and just give it to you on an item, which is cool. I love that, but it kind of messes with like the balance of it all. And then healer items. I'm curious for you all. You guys still using like Act 1 healer items for Co and Dan? Because I haven't replaced any of those.
Yeah,
like
like
healer items.
Items that give like bonus to like if you heal, they get blessed.
Dude,
or they get temporary.
I almost
HP
never heal. I ended
Really?
up taking that stuff off. Yeah, I almost never heal. I very rarely heal in combat, and if I do, it's generally bonus action potions.
That
but
makes
no, I
sense.
tend to
That's
just,
very
like,
5e of you.
It's kind of like you were. Yeah, it's kind of like you were saying earlier. How you know when you can do 20 damage, why do anything else? Like I kind of feel that way about DPS. Like if you can take out enemies or keep the fight going forward. Like I use a heal now and then if it's like a long boss fight or something.
Yeah.
But very rarely, not enough to keep it going.
Yeah. And maybe I should change that then. Because I still have like all of that healer gear on my healer, and I don't really heal that much. You're right about that. It's only when they go down. Or you throwing potions is so strong that you don't even really need a heal, I guess, right? Because you just lob a potion at someone.
Yeah, I found that out. Like, thankfully, that's not a spoiler because they put it in the game tooltips. Like when you're loading, it says, "Can't make it to someone? Throw a potion at them." You're like, "Oh shit! All right." So you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" All right, here you go.
Just lob a potion, yeah.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
Oh, but I
feels so
there's
good.
glass in my face though.
Are any of you multi-classed?
No.
No.
Okay.
Hard life too good. Hard life too good.
God, yeah.
That's right.
Bard's actually the one that has like crazy multi-class options too. I think that's like much later game stuff though, is when you start to dabble. That's when I did. I was pure monk until 11, and then I was like, I'm gonna multi-class a little bit. And I was a monk fighter, and I was like, wait a minute, if I go rogue, and then now I'm a monk rogue.
Yeah.
But there's multi-classing is fun. I think Strippin is a ranger fighter rogue. So he's like triple.
Well, dips are real in this game,
he's
so I mean that makes sense.
I think
No, like
it's wild.
fuck, man. It is very much like it's a very cool power gamer option, and I've seen it used on the tabletop many times. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get to level 3 in this, and then I like this one level of this will multiply what I already have by a billion.
Yeah.
And then when I get to level 6 of this, I'm gonna get this because that adds to that and all that kind of shit. Like I my brain doesn't work like that. Like, I want to be the best bard I can possibly be. And also my attention is like, it's just like, I can't think about doing so much stuff. There's already so much stuff I can do. I can't add more things on top of it.
Sure. Yeah.
This game alleviates the like growing pains of having multi-class, since you can respec after you're already level 10. So you have to go through those weird levels of being like, well, I'm not really a good rogue yet. I'm kind of not really a great mage anymore. So I'm kind of like in between or something.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
Really
I mean,
hurts.
level 5 for any like fighter or rogue or monk is like such a pivotal class because you get the second attack. It feels kind of weak prior to that.
Okay, again, sorry.
No, you're good. Do what you need to.
Yeah. Real quick, for those wondering, during the course of the show, we had a laundry room flood, and now about 30 square feet of my basement ceiling is on the floor. So I'm helping that where I can. So anyway,
it's not great.
I'll be back in a second.
It's not great. Good luck.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yep.
Godspeed.
Yep.
I'm pulling questions from chat because there's so many different things to ask about. How many of you are using tadpole abilities? And to what extent?
It was fucking like the first time I saw it, it was like, that is super sus. like I looked at it, I was like, 2 to beat it? 2 to beat the check? And then I look, I reload and I look back and I'm like, I've got persuasion, I've got deception, I've got bard, I've got Baldurian, like all these other options. So I'm like, there's going to be some negative consequences to that. And don't tell me because I don't know. I do not know.
I'm not going to say anything.
But I'm like, there's going to be negative consequences to that. So I'm going to avoid using that whenever possible because it is super suspect at being a 2 to beat it.
Sure,
like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. The game's very good about that. Of like, it makes you guess or question literally every choice that you do. Because the game is still like gray in its tone. In terms of like, who do you trust? What do you do? Are you doing the right thing? Is that the right thing? Fuck these people. Oh, these people are being really nice. Oh, these people are nice. Oh, those people are bastards. And that could all be the same person, right?
And I'll tell you this, like every time I hear the word authority, I just go like my hackles get up. I'm like, I can't. It's bad. What happened? What is happening right now is bad.
So good at reading lines. Like every line she does is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, Millie is amazing.
Dude,
Amelia is just fucking phenomenal.
You mean absolute, not authority, right? Is that what you mean?
No. When you get an illithid choice, it says, you feel blah 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 coursing through you. Authority.
Oh,
like
I didn't know that.
Word she says.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
For tadpoles, for me, I've taken a couple of abilities on 2 characters, and then I'm hoarding the rest. My theory is that if I don't do too many, it'll be fine. Just a couple is okay, but any more than that is gonna be. So I'll find out later. But I only have a few on 2 characters.
Yeah.
You see, like I saw it in my journal, like a little blurb that says like it's like the fucking devil tempting you. The blurb in the journal is like, that felt really good, and you're like, oh, that must be real bad then.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I've got
embrace the power. It'll be fine.
I've got 20
You're
unused
fine,
tadpoles.
dude. Just do it.
Yeah, so I did what Dan did, where it's like I got like 4 on one character, and then I've got 20 unused, and I'm just like, man,
some of those beginning ones, you just like, I'm like, I can't
crazy.
Not choose that. That's so good.
Yeah, they're crazy. I mean, some of the later ones are fucking broken, like just insanity levels of power. But it's got to not be good, right? Like the temptation is so real to like look at all that stuff.
Even the interface, like every time you use one, you see it like go into your brain and turn it gray, and like your brain withers as you put these worms in there.
Yeah.
The UI choice was very good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's fantastic. You brought up the voice acting of Amelia Tyler. Is that right? Is that
Amelia Tyler? Yep.
Yeah. I think
I'm actually putting her Twitter in my chat right now.
Okay. Yeah. I think just like voice acting across the board, arguably for the amount that is there, it might be like the best I have ever seen or experienced in a game. Like there has not been a dip and the quality of writing and the voice acting for 100+ hours. I've not ran into someone and been like, that sucked. It's always been like, that was insane. It's so well done. I'm shocked every single time. I don't know if it's just me and you, Zeke. I don't know what's happening.
That's cool. I'm all good with that.
Yeah. I don't know if you've experienced the same or found like a dip anywhere except for the guy in Act 3 that, oh, Kospak. Yeah, I feel like the voice acting is just on point across the board. It's phenomenal. And I don't know how they did that, because there's something like 1 million lines of dialogue or 1 million words or something like that in the game. It's crazy that it's kept up that level for 100+ hours. So what else do we want to jump into? Everything good?
Oh,
Ish?
one thing I wanted to.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right. No, you're good.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Zeke, go ahead.
One thing I want to do, like I tried, like, because if it's at all possible and viable and actually feels good, I will try with a controller over a keyboard mouse, because it's just more relaxing for me to do this rather than that for keyboard mouse. And I will say the controller support is pretty good.
Yeah.
Except, and I'm going to the reason why I brought it up, because I want to ask anybody who knows if you're in the overworld, you can probably hold down left alt to highlight containers and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You can do that in like an area with the controller, but you have to like stop and it goes whoop, and that's it. That's it. Like there's no button to
like
hold
Witcher
down
or something
to highlight, unless I'm mistaken. I want to be mistaken, because that is the one biggest thing that is holding me back from doing controller, is that I can't have a button that I hold down to see all the shit I can pick up or open.
Chat's saying hold in the right stick, like clicking the right stick.
You can hold it in.
Yeah.
And it will keep the stuff highlighted. Not because there's that sense that goes whoop, and it'll show it, but you have to like push out a circle.
Right. I don't know. It might be.
So it will stay highlighted. Okay.
There you go.
Cool. Then I will give that a shot then.
Yep. We'll go through the second stat sheet here, just so we can say that we did. Origin character.
By the way, congrats
selection.
to them for up to 845 concurrent players.
Yeah, they just
right
peaked.
now.
Yeah, they
peaked.
Hell
yeah.
Yeah,
it's still going up. Yeah, it's still going up.
Oh shit, I'm peaking.
Gale's the most selected character for people that did choose Origin characters. And then he's also the 7th cause of death for players. Which I think is interesting once you get down to the class choices as well. 2 very strong data points here. Due to the race choices, and I think due to the Origin character choices, I think 2 things can be extracted. 1, people are fucking vanilla as hell in the greater population of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And 2, people really want to make a fuckable character, because half-orc, dwarf, gnome, halfling, and gith not on the table.
No.
They want the hotness of the half-elf, the human, the elf, the dragonborn, the tiefling, the drow. That's it.
There's
But
something
here's the thing.
I don't need to see. That's it.
Here's the thing. This is there's a reason for this, and there's a reason for me as well. And the reason is, first playthroughs, you want to, like most people I spoke with about video games, go good playthrough first. And good, you get to see probably in most games, you get to see more of the game, because people want to talk to someone who's nice. If you're an asshole, if you're dark side the whole time, it limits conversation topics, and or people will stop talking to you and shit like that. So good first time through, because you get more options. Vanilla-ish first time through. And then my second time through, fucking Dark Urge all the way.
That's
the
what I
ugliest, weirdest character like ever, like imaginable.
Yeah. It I want to see, and I don't know how they could do this. They probably can't, because I don't think they're tracking this info. But I would love to see the people that chose human and half elf but also went to dwarf, gnome, halfling, and we're like, what's penis C look like? Like, I want to see what people were curious to be like, let's just check it out. Let's just see what's
will
cooking.
be happy to know that there are already mods for this particular topic.
God damn it. Okay. Yeah.
New
Happy and
versions,
unsurprised.
enhanced versions of the ones that are already there. There's lots of options available.
Yeah, I told you guys before, there's also mods for I want to make a child main character. So there's also some really bad shit out there that exists if you want to.
Mods can be used for good or evil.
Yeah, some real evil shit. Yeah. Yeah.
I did see a really cool mod that lets you multi-class, where you can go up to level 20, but no class can go above 12. So like you could keep leveling, but then you're just leveling a second class once you get to 13, 14, 15.
Sure. Yeah. That's cool.
If all the bonuses still stacked, that would still get kind of nutty.
You can get very nutty,
but crazy OP, but it's there.
Yeah. It'll be cool to see like what mods, one, are super popular, and two, if Larian, because Larian's been pretty pro mod, right? Like if something works really well for the game, they will sometimes even support it and patch it in, right? In the past.
Yeah.
So curious what makes it out there and what adds it to it. I was a little shocked, by the way, to see Paladin so far, especially given like you have to make
I'm not.
Well, don't you? Isn't it really easy to break your like oath?
Yeah, but you can reset it.
Vengeance is easy. You just have to kill the evil stuff, which I do anyway. So
got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
some of the oaths are very easy to break, though.
Yeah. I was watching S-Fans playing Paladin, and he got into a fight. It was 30 minutes long. Killed a guy, and then it broke an oath, and he's like, "Fuck!" And he had to reload the entire fight. So I see that's a thing. But yeah, not surprised to see that. And then I'm not surprised to see Sorcerer and Warlock up there, just because with Wizard you have to read so much, and with Eldritch and Warlock, it's like Warlock is Eldritch Blast, Bot, and Sorcerer is like I'll choose a couple spells and be really good at them. I'll get
love playing
fireballs.
Charisma on a first playthrough to get those Charisma checks, on your character.
That is also a great point. The top three, Paladin uses Charisma as well, right? Wisdom, Charisma, or is it Charisma?
It's Charisma, Strength.
Charisma, Strength.
Charisma, Strength. Yep.
Yeah.
So Sorcerer's Charisma.
Top three are all Charisma then, with Bard right behind as well. So, and I guess if you choose a subclass for Rogue, also Charisma as well.
And half elf is just like most versatile. Like I've played D&D a long time.
Is that what you are?
And half elf, yes.
Okay. All right.
It's just and that's why I picked it, because it is vanilla. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's totally vanilla, but it's
I
also
was poking
the most
fun. Yeah.
No. It's a valid statement. Like it's just you get like the dark vision. You get like elf abilities like no sleep and blah blah blah. But you also don't have like I think there's certain negatives with elf, and also if you're half elf, I didn't want there to be like this like negative reaction to me being a full blood elf, because in D&D sometimes there is like, oh, you're a blah 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 elf. Well, fuck you.
Yeah.
If you're a half elf, everybody's like, you're a mud anyways. We don't care.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm playing as a drow, and that has come up in a conversation where I've spoken with an elf, and my character has an option of like bracket drow, fuck you, you fucking like.
See, and I love that. I love the bracket bard, bracket Baldurian, because especially bracket bard, because it's snarky.
Oh,
it's like,
really?
Well,
oh yeah, all of it.
Shove them up
all
your
of
ass and find out.
That's awesome.
Like you get like cool dialogue options with that. It's great.
The monk are hilarious, because the monks are just like, they're very holier than thou, and very much like, you should find peace with yourself. or one should really contemplate their thoughts before making a hard decision. But also that I'm a drow, it's like that's an option, and then the drow one's like, yeah, I'll make you my slave. So you get to choose one or the other. It's the dichotomy of a drow monk, I guess.
People like playing good characters, and the paladin is like, like hero character. So a lot of the paladin options have been very heroic and very like righteous, and I will swear to smite this for you kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like that hero fantasy.
Meanwhile, Bard is like, roll for fart check.
is that a thing? Is there a fart check?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There is actually a fart check later in the game.
Oh my god, that's
God.
awesome. That's fucking cool.
Wow, spoilers, jeez.
Sorry.
Might be.
No, my charisma and performance is so good. Like it would be a fart check, but it would like fart check to come out sounding like a flute.
Fair. Fair enough. Ko, are you a human bard?
Yep.
Okay. And Dan, are you a human paladin?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
The second I saw that humans could carry more, I was like, oh, done.
Oh, is that the racial they get to carry? What's your maximum carry?
Does that even come into play for you?
Yes.
I don't know. I loot so much
Encumbrance
stuff.
does not come into play for me at all yet. Like it's all like send to camp, and that's like it.
Oh.
I
guess you could send everything to camp. Yeah. You don't even have
I
to
send
leave it.
everything to camp, and then when I get to a merchant, I'm just like, I'll be right back. Hold on. Boop.
Yeah.
Pop out. Boop,
I
back.
do that when my inventories are full, but I have I think I have 300 encumbrance. Do you know what it is with human? Like what is your
like 150? But I mean, I have no strength.
Oh, you have no strength.
No
Okay.
strength.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm at 300 and I'm constantly full.
I can hold 500, I think.
Holy
on the
shit.
paladin. Yeah.
Do you have 22 strength or do you have 20?
I have 18 strength currently, so it'll get a little higher.
Fuck, that's a lot. Okay.
With the
Dude,
human
I
bonus
have
plus
8
strength,
strength, and
it's a
I
lot.
haven't had to worry about encumbrance.
Really? Are you looting?
No, I
The
send
way
everything
that
to
you're
camp.
looting is makes
Everything to
sense.
camp.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
But even-
because this is why, because it took me a while to figure this out, or for myself, I guess, the way I wanted to do it, because I would add to wares and add to my inventory, and then I would like get close to being over encumbered, and then I realized once you send them to camp, they are taken out of wares. They are no longer in your wares anyway. So I was like,
Ooh.
oh fuck, I'll just send everything to camp and then mark them as wares
In
when I
camp.
sell them from there. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't even use the wear system.
Yeah.
I'm bad about it. It would definitely be better if I did. But the way
I send every barrel to camp. Every barrel. I see.
every barrel, yeah.
Case.
Yeah, so I have I have just on my healer, that's like the potion alchemist, and even just potions, they are completely encumbered. Like I can't put anything else on them. Granted, a lot of that is like, why do you have 30 potions of speed if you're not gonna? It's the Final Fantasy issue of like use an elixir on the final boss type deal, and when I just have all these fucking potions and elixirs.
I personally am saving all my potions for Baldur's Gate 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Same with scrolls too. I have all the scrolls.
Yep, all the scrolls.
I'm pissed.
And arrows.
Yep, I got all the arrows,
Yep.
all the scrolls. Yeah, same. I sold some of the scrolls because I was like, I have every fucking spell. I don't need a protection of good and evil times 10 on this character. I'm just gonna sell it.
Yeah, still in Act 1, that is probably 75% of the money I've spent, which is not very much. I haven't spent that much money. 75% of it is just learning,
Spells.
giving Gale spells to learn
Sure.
for no reason. I'm never going to use most of
You're
those.
just
Like
a collection.
ever. It's just like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have friends with badgers?
Yeah.
Well, you got it now. It's going to cost you 100 gold. Like, you'll have it forever.
Maybe I'll meet a badger. Like, I don't know.
To my own detriment, there is an item that you get from a character if a conversation goes a certain way that can only be used in Act 1. I didn't know that until I was in Act 3. And so I never got to use the summonable item in Act 1. And also because of that, and this might clue you in on what I'm talking about if you have it, I missed out on a item that gives you a shit ton of intelligence. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. So, but I never used it, and I'm very upset about that. So be careful. I guess what I'm saying is, if you get an item in an act, use it before you leave the act, or else you can't, and that's unfortunate.
Oh,
If I say the word horn, does that mean anything to you, Co?
it
Yes.
does. It does.
Oh.
But I didn't realize that was Act 1 only.
Oh, so you
Oops.
still have it?
I still
Well,
have it. Yep.
I used it, and then you have the potential to use it again, and I never used it again.
Oh, it doesn't. It's what the fuck? It's not a.
You can use it multiple times.
You can use it multiple times. God damn it! I'm even
Oh
more
my
upset.
I was saving it. I
God.
was like, is this horn-worthy? I don't know. I don't think it's
That,
horn-worthy.
that's what I kept doing.
That's
Okay,
exactly
so-
what I was doing. Like I
Can we
said,
do-
the
can we do-
exact same Seinfeld
I'm
thing.
so
like, is this
fucking pissed
horn-worthy?
off.
Is
Let's do a
metal
quick
horn-worthy?
spoiler.
Spoilers.
Let's do a quick spoiler. Super quick. So what you can do is you can toot the horn, and then when they're about to go, they're like, "Okay, we're going," and you're like, "No, I'm going to pay you to come again." And they're like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And then you can just like pay them to keep coming back.
I knew I should have saved scum that.
But hold on. Did you kill him?
No,
There's a
that's
reason.
the thing. That's I did it, and then they didn't die. So I was like, "Hey, you guys want to do it again later?" They were like, "Sure, just toot the horn again." And I was like, oh, "Okay." And
There's
I
a-
never tooted the horn again.
So we all missed out on the reason why that ogre is so smart. It's what I
Oh,
say.
he's got an item. Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
I was wondering why that was the situation. Okay,
Just
That's
to
cool.
like we got the spoiler tag up. You get 18 int with that item.
Can you go back?
oh, it's
to
a
Act
it's a
1 and
set
use
at
it?
18.
Yeah. No, you can't go back to Act 1.
Don't tell me it's a head item.
Oh,
It is. Oh, it's 17. It's 17. Sorry.
Still,
17.
that's so good.
Yeah. And that's
Amazing.
why I'm
Damn.
upset that I missed out on it. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm gonna
And
do on my wizard
Oh.
character.
I am going to try
So
not
wait,
to act on this
you're saying-
information, but I'm going to
So if-
fail.
If you doot outside of Act 1, they just don't come. Is that the
it
situation?
just says no, the horn, like they don't. It basically says like
Too far away?
You should, yeah, you're too far away for the so and so is too far away for the horn to hear them. I think is what it says.
Okay.
And I think is if in that conversation initially, if you pickpocket the smart one and you take that item, he turns stupid.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
Yeah,
Of course he does.
yeah,
You would.
That's amazing.
yeah. Which is like, holy shit! Like,
It's actually
so
amazing.
cool.
just the level of thought put into all of that is absolutely insane. I think I didn't do it because I never
Marvelous.
got it, but that's someone in my chat was telling me
It's
that.
marvelous.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
imagine,
God.
like, if I was the voice actor for that, like, I imagine that would be fucking awesome. Like, they're like, okay, we need you to do the same situation, but this time, dumb as a sack of hammers. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's wild. It's wild. It's crazy how many like things there are in that game. It's seeming like it's 100+ hour playthrough for most people. I'll probably clock in 130, 140 when all is said and done. I'm quote unquote rushing to finish before PoE on Friday so I can have that game take over my life, but we'll see if it happens. I'm curious for Zeke. You're probably going to be like 300 hours.
Yeah, we'll do the Baldur's Gate 3 spoiler cast in mid 2024.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
yeah. It's a lot.
Oh my god. So okay. I gotta share this with you because someone in my chat saved my ass. So in the game, in Baldur's Gate 3, mechanically, if you want to play with a controller and you have they inform me that you can hold down the right stick to highlight shit in the world. Did not know that. But
Yeah.
you have to hold it down.
Okay.
And I'm like, fuck, I hate holding down right stick because it's, I move. For anyone wanting to play with a controller, like me, you can change it in the Steam settings so that one click is toggle. And that is going to be a game changer for me because I want to play on controller so bad. And now I can.
That's a good
I
tip.
feel like I can now.
That's a good tip.
Cool. Hey, man.
Good stuff. Yeah, especially for the I don't know if you guys have seen this when you stream it, but there's so many people. It's like, I can't play. I'm waiting for the PlayStation release. Should I play the PC version? And I don't know what to do. It's like, yeah, you gotta wait another 3 weeks or 2 weeks or
Sucks,
something
man.
like that. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. But the nice thing is hopefully all the and I think maybe did they tweet about it? Like all the patches they've done, all the fixes they've done are going to be implemented on that when it goes live.
I'm sure there'll be like a day one.
Right for the day one
I'm
patch,
sure they'll catch up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
I just hope it runs well. I'm very curious to see how it runs. On console. And also, like we talked about the issues with Act 3 and performance. I'm curious how long it takes for that to get addressed. I mean, you guys followed Divinity since it launched. Was there Act 3 was kind of similar, right? Where it was
Divinity was not in a great state on launch. DOS 2, not in a great state. The last act was a mess. In fact, like I was talking about today on my stream, when I did the last act of DOS 2 the first time, an entire character that like had a huge murder scene, I killed them and everything, just popped up in the last fight like he was totally fine. and then like the whole ending sequence acted like she had been alive, like I'd not made that decision. So it was a mess, dude. It was an actual mess. They, for the record, and so people understand, they not only fixed it, they locked it down. DOS 2 is in a great state now. It's just fine. And from the people that I've had finish Baldur's Gate 3, the general consensus is there are definitely bugs in the third act. Some of them will interrupt quests, but the meat of the game is generally okay.
Yep.
I have not heard of too many people having any major game breaking issues, involving things of that scale in the last area. So,
yep. Yeah, I'm eager to see it all like come together, I guess.
I've already started my Starfield countdown. So as long, I'm trying to, I think I want to get it done. I want to get it done before Starfield if I can, but if I can't, then I can't.
I mean, hey, let's continue the news. 2 hours into the show.
Second news story.
Fuck, that's right. We never officially switched over, did we?
We started the news and it's just like, fuck it, let's talk Baldur. I mean, look, that's Baldur's Gate in a nutshell. It is, we cannot say, I think, as a group, and as like a industry, like it's definitely taken over the industry. They're all-time players on a second weekend for a single-player RPG. That's unheard of. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The word of mouth right now on the game is insane, and so many people are jumping into it.
Funny enough, like this is the first time in my 10 years that I've ever gotten, after a 90 plus Cyberpunk release, after all that stuff, this is the first time in 10 years that I've gotten into the top 10 of biggest streams in a week.
Oh
it
yeah.
was a freaking CRPG.
I
was like, what timeline is this, man? Like of every game I've played, of all the AAAs, of all the popular, like a CRPG.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's wild, man. Never would have been on my bingo card, man. Crazy.
I'm trying to think how to say
857,000 people playing right now, by the way.
Yeah.
They just beat their max today by like 40K, and it's still going up.
I mean,
as we get into, weekend.
This might sound like shade, but it's just another way to gauge interest in the game. When an embed streamer is rocking 46,000 at 10 p.m., you know that game is like fucking crazy because so many people are looking at
the wiki. I was going to say, it means they're looking at the wiki. It doesn't mean they're watching it.
That's what I'm saying, that the wiki is bumping for 45,000 people.
Lots of traffic.
The wiki's bumping. At 10 p.m. That's crazy. That's insane. That's an insane amount of embed views. So we'll see. You mentioned Starfield. How do you, like? Obviously, the comparisons are going to happen. They're already happening, and the game's not even out yet. And people are setting the expectation of like so many games. I think that are going to release from now on are always going to be like, yeah, but Baldur's Gate did that. So how come this came out? If Starfield like launches, and there's any sense of performance issues or just crazy rampant bugs, I don't know how the internet is going to react to that.
The interesting thing here is, looking back, it was a brilliant move for Larian to bump it up by a month.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is people are going to fundamentally be able to take their time with Baldur's Gate 3, see how good this game is, see how amazing this game is. And then I hate to say it, but then they're going to use that as the bar for Starfield.
Yeah.
Starfield no longer is coming in with like overhype. It's coming in with you need to meet expectations. Like you need this is your challenger is, a potential game of the decade for a lot of people. Like one of the best games ever made, people are throwing around.
Yeah.
And it's kind of and now you are the next game up. That it's wild, man.
It's
the smartest thing Larian could have done.
It's definitely the smartest thing Larian could ever do. And I think on the other side of that coin, it's the worst situation for Bethesda to be in. Like all of our conversation that we had about like comparisons and people are saying like AAA games that like Starfield is the first litmus test. Like that is the game that will be held to that standard first. And that is the game that was already going to be ripped to shreds and picked at with a fucking microscope because it's a Bethesda game. Like it doesn't get bigger than that.
Dude, if Starfield is a flop, it is going to be possibly the most epic flop that the gaming community has ever seen. I'm talking about like surpassing Cyberpunk.
Yeah, bigger than
Cyberpunk. If Starfield comes out and it is a buggy, unoptimized general mess, like first of all, I think no self-respecting gamer is going to continue to have any type of yay Microsoft's buying companies feeling anymore. Like that's gonna disappear.
God, there's so much
writing. Then after that, totally the Bethesda, it's like a row of dominoes. It's like Microsoft faith gets knocked over, Bethesda faith gets knocked over. Like it's just gonna be amazing. I personally am cozily in the cautiously optimistic boat because it got delayed. They know how much is riding on the line. I am hoping that our buddy Phil isn't going to have to make his second apology tour.
Well, that's
after Redfall.
That's the thing.
But it's like
imagine if it's good.
The copium is real. I was going to say. That's the next part. The next part is like if it's good.
That's goose.
Then
I got
this is going to be
saying
yeah. Like I think I speak for many people when I say that we're going into Starfield with tempered expectations. We know Bethesda's roadmap. We know what happened with Redfall and Microsoft. Like I think we're going in and we're like, we've watched all the Starfield previews. We know what this game's about. If it runs well, it's not a buggy mess, and it delivers on what we've seen, it's going to be a fine game. And hopefully we'll surpass some of our expectations. The issue is that if they're pulling a Cyberpunk, the issue is if they are showing us all the good stuff, but then all the other stuff is not what we saw, which is essentially what Cyberpunk did. Like their demo, for those who don't remember, the Cyberpunk demo was pristine.
Yeah, it was
like what they were showing people at the cons and stuff looked phenomenal. It ran great. Like no pop-in. Like it was great. So the hope is that we're not running into that situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like it's wild because my brain is already doing the comparisons. One of my favorite things, this is a total streamer take, but one of my favorite things about Baldur's Gate 3 was that the game launched at the same time for everyone. Streamers couldn't stream it until people themselves could play it. Now, streamers, we had the ability to download it early, so we weren't sitting in a download queue. So it wasn't an exact launch. But the fact that when we started the game, people in chat were starting the game is unheard of in this industry. It is so rare for that to happen, and I wish it was like that.
And for it to not be a bad thing.
And for it to not be a bad thing, yes.
Yeah.
I wish that was the fucking standard, because here's what's going to happen with Starfield. There's already early access that you can buy into. 100% streamers are going to get access to it. I'm sure people on this broadcast, maybe myself, will get early access to it. And that's going to shape the entire conversation around that game before it even comes out. I just wish that every game was like, all right, you can stream it when it launches at this time. But Larian was in such a unique position because there was no street date to be broken. There's no physical copy of the game to get out there early that happened with like...
They had full control over the situation.
Full control over everything. And that is like impossible in today's industry. Like Starfield will most likely leak. There's no way it doesn't. I will be surprised if in 2 weeks we're not hearing about some mom and pop shop that has sold that game and people are playing it and there's spoilers everywhere. And that's what I wish was like the norm within the industry, is that everyone played at the same time. Because I don't like how a lot of times reviews will shape the conversation. a lot of times streamers, content creators will shape the conversation, and like that conversation can be so bad when we're running 4090s at the best hardware, and we're like, oh, the game's running great, it's fantastic, and then Billy Bob gets it on like a not 4090 machine, and it fucking crashes to desktop in the first 5 minutes.
Hey, again, right back to Cyberpunk, man.
Yeah.
I mean, here all the streamers were playing on their top-end of the PCs. The game was unplayable on previous-gen consoles, which made up a large double-digit percentage of the player base.
Totally. Yeah.
Yep.
I
100%.
would like to talk about Bethesda.
Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. Dan, please, your TED Talk.
I've always been a massive Bethesda fan. And I have to clarify, as people don't understand, there's Bethesda Softworks, which publishes games like Redfall and stuff, and there's Bethesda Game Studios that makes Skyrim and Fallout 4. That's the only 2 games they've made in the past 10 years. They didn't make Fallout 76. So the studio that made Skyrim and Fallout 4 are making Starfield. And Bethesda games, I've been through Oblivion's launch. Elder Scrolls Oblivion was one of the buggiest, most broken games ever. But something about how Bethesda makes a game, they make it unlike anyone else. Their games are just have this undescribable magic that lets you fight through the bugs and the glitches, because there's just some unknown quality to them that makes you want to experience them despite them. There's something about
You could say they
them
just work.
different. Yeah. It is something about it that is, it's hard to describe. Like Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, they're fine games. Like, they're okay. The basic versions, they're fine. But what makes them amazing is you can still play Skyrim 10 years later and have it be an entirely different experience every time, because the modding community behind these games are absolutely insane. They make the level of mods that you would never see on any other game, whole other new games, like within the engine and stuff. There's this community around Bethesda games, specifically Fallout 4 and Skyrim, that just keep these games going on for years. So no matter what Starfield is when it launches in a couple weeks, 10 years from now, 2 years from now, modders will take whatever that is and make it 1,000 times better. It's a sandbox to play in. Now, what they make is fine. Like, Fallout 76 was not Todd's project, but he did do the pitch for it. And that was broken and stuff. But Fallout 4, the base game, is okay. Skyrim is okay. But mods are what take those games and make them 1,000 times better. And their games are in an engine that is designed from the ground up to be extremely moddable. And the downside is because it introduces a lot of bugs that aren't in other engines and stuff. So by having these games designed to be modded from the ground up to change just about anything in the game, it introduces a lot of extra bugs into them. And I'm a big fanboy. I love those games to death. I play them all the time. And I can't think of too many games that I go back to years and years and years later, again and again and again, and have the experience be entirely different every time because of the modding community behind the game, just making it something more than it was when it launched. And that's my TED Talk.
How that, first of all, that was awesome. But second of all, how does that change your opinion on the launch of the product when there's no mods available?
Now that's the rough part, is the waiting.
True. Yeah.
So my copium hope is that they have learned my hopium. They have learned from Skyrim and Fallout 4 what went wrong, what problems are in the engine, and that they are addressing those specifically. And they have also mentioned that this is the first game they've ever had Microsoft's full QA team working on. They weren't involved with Redfall that much. They've been focusing on Starfield and pounding away to try to get as many bugs out as possible. So my hope is that this will be the least buggy game. But even if it is a broken mess, I and other people will have tons of fun with this game years down the line because of the modding community behind it. Even if Bethesda themselves don't release a great game, the modders will bring it there eventually.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like those those mediocre TikTok videos that everybody takes and like that one person adds and one person adds and one person adds, one person adds. Yeah, like the songs or just the different things that people add. It's like, oh, that was a pretty good video, but wait till the public gets their hands on it, and then it's gonna be fucking spectacular.
Yeah, yeah, it is a good point. That those
I gotta admit,
are like moddable. That's what
I don't generally do mods in Bethesda games, but I still absolutely love them. Like Dan, out of curiosity, how do you feel about the base game? Because I think you're like me, where you've kind of been like gluttonously eating all of the data that has been coming about Starfield. Like you watched all the live things. Are you on a blackout for it, or have you watched all the live things and the?
I've been watching like all the interviews and then watch the preview and stuff. Yeah, so I know
how does
most stuff.
That stuff look to you.
To me, the stuff that the engine is doing is the previous engine was incapable. Like Fallout 4 and Skyrim, you couldn't have more than 10 NPCs in an area because it would cause their AI to start glitching out and going all over the place. But the preview showed that there were 30, 40, 50 people in one zone, which is something that wasn't possible in the engine before. So stuff like that I noticed in the preview made me think that they have done big changes to the engine to try to fix things that were very wrong with them. And even modders can't fix everything because there's some broken stuff in Skyrim and Fallout 4 that can't be modded.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm
very cool.
I gotta say, like,
yeah. We'll see.
Go ahead. I'll let you.
No, go ahead. I don't have a full thought. Go ahead. Let me cook.
Yeah.
Let me cook.
Let him cook. Let him cook. Yes, chef. I played through all of the Bethesda games, vanilla, no mods, and I love them. I absolutely love them. I loved Oblivion, Morrowind, Skyrim, Fallout 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I know a lot of people like are like get down on that shit, but I think there are so many more like me who kind of like, oh, new Bethesda game. Let's see how fucked up it is, you know? And then,
just with a smile, right?
Yeah. That's a large population.
But I love it.
That's
I love
me
it when
in a nutshell.
It's buggy and glitchy and like that kind of shit. Because it's charming to me, you know? Like it feels like, oh, they forgot to add texture on this fucking whole entire person, you know? Like it's just like this blur that you're looking at. You're like, all right, blur guy, tell me what you got to say. You know, I love that shit.
Another interesting thing to think about is, and I think this kind of exemplifies like a lot about Bethesda as a whole. A lot of times, you know, I'll play some pretty janky games on my channel, and a lot of times people that may not know it or that type of game, like Elix 2 is a good example, will come in, they'll watch, you know, a few minutes of combat, a few minutes of the game, and just be like, "Why are you playing this? What's wrong? Like this looks terrible." And I think the same thing that I say to them, I think a lot of Bethesda fans say to people that aren't Bethesda fans, where it's kind of like, well, here's the deal, man. The reason I play this game is because there's parts of this game that are actually really good and they're really fun. And I really enjoy like the big open worlds, the interesting little lore bits, the way they stage scenes and you can kind of investigate what happened, you know, and stuff like that. Like some of the parts of these games are amazing. Some of them aren't. But if you kind of play for the parts that you like, there's actually a lot of fantastic good material in there. I mean, you can say that about Bethesda going back to, I never played Arena, but for me, Morrowind was my big first entry to that. And I mean, I remember in Morrowind going around and feeling that way, just, you know, looking through my skills and running around the open world and be like, this is awesome. Like, I'm not even really doing anything, but just like being in this world and knowing what the game can do. Like, I'll never forget walking down that road and seeing that dude fall down in front of me and then being like, what the hell is this? And go up and look at his corpse. And I'm like reading the note and seeing the potion. Yeah, hey, dude, that was like a game shaping moment for me where I was like, they can do this. Like the game didn't tell me this. Like I was just wandering around and it happened and then I investigated it. I didn't have to. And then I discerned what happened and figured like that kind of thing is that's what I'm hoping Starfield will bring back. Fallout 4 did it well. I mean, hell, you're talking to a guy that like 100% of the Fallout 76 map. Even parts of that did it well. Like there are these little kernels of awesome in there. Sure. Just, you know, some of them you have to look a little harder to find. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I really hope that that's what we're going to see in Starfield. And oh god,
we're going to see something.
I love talking about it because I start getting excited about it again.
Dude,
I'm
the same way, man. That's why I said, imagine if Starfield was good, gave me That stupid saying gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I also know
and
that
then after
no matter what, it's going to be a mess. Like, it's all going to be a mess. No matter what, there's going to be a mess that has to be cleaned up.
It could be a hot pile of garbage, or it could be extremely fun. We will find out in 2 weeks, and then we'll be able to like find out if they've learned or not. I think this is going to be a big thing. Yeah.
But Dan, it can be both things at the same time.
It can be both, yeah.
And it's great.
And we're
a hot pile of fun garbage.
The four of us and content creators everywhere are in a unique position that, like, no matter what happens, it will be fun. Now that doesn't. That's not the same for the general public. If this game comes out, it's a steaming pile of shit. They're paying $70 for it. Heads are gonna roll. Like, people are gonna be furious. But for us, we're gonna be like, yeah, that's right. I can see inside this person's skull while I'm talking to them.
So okay,
I can see his tonsils.
Have you guys seen The Room, the movie The Room, that notoriously bad movie?
Yeah.
Some people, it's very polarizing. It's some people will look at it and go, I love this fucking movie because of shit, because it's so shitty. And some people look at it like, I will never watch this again because it is the most terrible piece of shit that I've ever seen, and I'm now dumber for having watched it. And those are the camps that I'm talking about. Like, I'm definitely in the, this is fucking terrible, I love it camp.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
And as people just said, by the way, JP, another important thing to remember, Starfield's going to be on Game Pass. So that's at least, they take a little bit of the sting out if it's garbage.
That's true. I can already, like, I could see if it launches and it's bad, or it has a bad launch in terms of performance or whatever, I could see the cries for, like, we're going to boycott Game Pass. And then you're going to get, like, everyone say, like, make sure to unsubscribe to your game. Tell Microsoft, vote with your, and it's just, I can already see the, like, the multiverses that kind of exist out there. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting to just get ready for that and see all that happen from our unique position as streamers and content creators. So, yeah.
Why do we not hold other developers to the same standard? Cyberpunk had some amazing aspects to it as well. Oh, I think we've talked about that on this show.
Yeah.
Before,
welcome to Drop Frames for your first
episode. I know. I mean, like, and we've all, like, I think Cyberpunk's a little bit different because, you know, CDPR actively tried to lie to people, which is again a bit different than what we're talking about here. But it's I think all developers at the end of the day can be held to that standard. But funny enough, that actually is a good segue into our next topic, because what's happening a month after Starfield? The Cyberpunk re-release is essentially happening.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not only releasing new content, they are basically reinventing a lot of the base game. They're adding in even more features that they promised would be in that weren't. They are making some big promises in terms of what they're going to be presenting with it. So it's kind of like, it's going to be like the next September for fans of open world RPGs is huge.
Yeah.
Like Starfield and essentially Cyberpunk 2.0 with a bunch of new content and Idris Elba. That's going to be huge, man. That's going to be absolutely huge. Funny enough, I am almost as hyped as I am for Starfield as I am for Cyberpunk's re-release.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think...
As somebody who played during 1.0.
I think that you calling it a re-release is a big tell for, like, what that expansion launch is, because of how bad the first one was. That, like,
absolutely.
You're looking at it in that way as a fan of the game. Yep. And I would think that they being CD Projekt Red is also approaching it in that way. I'm just curious. It's kind of it's not necessarily the inverse, but it's a different look than Starfield. Like, I want to see what happens when Starfield launches. I want to see what happens when Cyberpunk launches for different reasons, because it's already launched and because it's, you know, like, is it going to be the No Man's Sky of open world RPGs where it'll be heralded as like, oh, they went back and fixed everything? Or is it still going to be more of the same, or what? I don't know. But
the Frown Upside Down Award.
Yeah, the Frown Upside Down Award. Exactly. So interested to see, for sure.
I mean, the amount that they have changed in that game from 1.0. I mean, me and many other people played Cyberpunk, many like me, to 100% pretty much, doing everything you could do when the game came out, and then we haven't touched it since. The amount that has changed in that game from that point, from fixes to optimizations to additions to changes to balances to straight up additions, and then to have this huge next patch and then to have an expansion on top of that with new endings. It's kind of like this is potentially really, really, really big for that game. I don't think it'll ever be a No Man's Sky though.
You don't think they'll redeem it that much?
I don't think it'll. I
just
think
because of how it releases.
The pit they fell into was a lot deeper than No Man's Sky, and I think I speak for a lot of people. I'm a CDPR fan. I love CDPR. Love Witcher 3. It's going to take me a couple games to get them back to even kind of close to where they were before. I mean, that was a catastrophe, man. That was like a combination of poor delivery, of outright obfuscation, of in some cases lies. Like it was about as corpo as you could get with the Cyberpunk release. And this is coming from somebody who loves them. I mean, it's just, you just got to admit what's there. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, saving Cyberpunk would be a fantastic first step. But like, think about their next big release. Like, nobody is going to be like totally confident in CDPR's next big release. The next Witcher games that come out, nobody's going to be totally confident in that. So like, they're going to need a few big projects that really kind of show that they're still in the game, in my opinion, at least. It's not going to take one huge update to this game, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean,
with The Witcher 3, like when they only had released Witcher 3, people, they were like on the confident list where you hear CD Projekt Red, you think, wow, it's going to be an amazing game. But now they've dropped down to the way people are thinking about Starfield with Bethesda. They're like worried, like, oh God, is it going to be broken? Is it going to be, they're not showing it. We're worried about it. So it's going to be that, like, you're going to have to prove it. We can't rely on your word anymore. You're going to have to prove it to us by showing us with this like update that you have learned and that you're going to live up to the expectations we had built for you.
And what's even crazier, Dan, is not only I echo everything you say, I would say they dropped significantly under where Bethesda was. Because not only did they not deliver, they tried to then like push an unfinished project. They tried to, in some cases, lie about what they were selling. Like, there's no Bethesda product has been pulled from the PlayStation Store. that was a big deal. So I mean, yeah.
In a lot of ways, the metaphor that I look at is like no one was that high in the video game industry, and no one fell that hard in the video game industry to date. Like that game was hyped to the most insane.
It was a Starfield.
I think it eclipses
Starfield is the next Cyberpunk in terms of like even anywhere getting close to that level of hype. But I agree. I think Cyberpunk was higher.
Yeah.
I think Cyberpunk was higher because just like you said, they had more to lose.
Yeah.
CDPR was a golden child developer. They had more to lose.
Yeah.
And they did when it released like that.
And
Bethesda, at least with Starfield, people are going in with, I mean, even Dan is he just said he's a huge Bethesda fanboy. And even Dan is going into Starfield like, maybe the modders will make it good. So it's like that alone should tell you, like, you gotta really be up high to get that big fall kind of thing.
Here's the real scary part is Larian is right now where CD Projekt Red was, arguably even higher where they were when Witcher 3 came out.
Yeah.
So now we get to see what happens to Larian after, week 2 hitting all-time high on Steam player count, top 10 of all time.
We know that Larian has already turned down multiple huge offers. They could have been bankrolled by now. Yeah. Absolutely. They could have sold out a long time ago.
Phil is just like, I got a blank check.
Dude, Phil has one of those, those giant platters with the huge silver top, and they like pull it up and it's just money, and he's just doing that. He's just outside of Larian's house. He's holding a stereo in the rain. He's doing outside. Sven,
every metaphor you want to throw in there. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So and Sven has repeatedly said, like, even publicly, not interested. Like, this is what we do. And more importantly, they've already said we're already working on our next project.
Which is wild.
So it's like which is awesome. So they're showing the world, like, look, we're making the money we want. We can release it how we want to. They made a public pledge about extraneous content in BG3. At this point, they'd be crazy to go back on in future projects. I mean, they didn't have to do that. They took an extra step to reaffirm with their public how they feel about this stuff. So, I mean, in terms of golden child developer, I think that they kind of took the place of CDPR in a lot of people's mind with this.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. It'll be interesting.
one-
It's all interesting.
The only one close to them, I would say, is From Software. They're like up there as well.
I think
They
like
make banger.
I think Capcom's kind of like stealthily up there. Like
Yeah.
Capcom hasn't released a bad game in almost a decade. Even like, well, I guess Resident Evil 3 maybe the remaster
Yeah.
of that, but like everything else that Capcom's put up, even Exo Primal is still like fun. It's just their attempt at a live service game where you're kind of like, eh. But yeah,
It's kind of phoning it in a little bit. But real quick, I got to address something I said in chat. Or I see in chat. There's not much I hate about Code, but this Cyberpunk 77 bashing I cannot get behind. To be clear, we're not bashing Cyberpunk. We're bashing how CDPR handled everything.
Yeah.
And if anything, we're talking about how like what they need to do to get back in public graces. I know a lot of people hear what they want to hear, but you have to remember, like it's the kind of thing where we have all I did 100% run of Cyberpunk when it came out. Like I'm just saying how excited I am to return to it.
yeah.
I'm
Joe's
not
probably the
bashing
biggest
it.
fan. Yeah.
I'm trying to be very real about the situation.
Fans
But
are
yeah,
the-
I'm not
fans
no
are the
bashing
biggest
here, man.
critics of the games they love. Like
yeah,
I love
that's
Skyrim
passion.
and Fallout 4,
Can be
but I have a
defined as that,
laundry
yeah.
list of things I hate about it, and I'll tell you about them all. Like
Yeah,
because I
100%.
want those to be fixed to make it even better because I love it so much.
100%.
And like I said, I'm just as excited about Starfield as I am returning to Cyberpunk. I can't wait to see all these huge changes and additions and an actual transmog system so I don't have to look like a meth college clown dropout when I'm playing the game. Oh my God, dude.
That is true.
I'll never forget when I had to put on that pink tank top that said bitch just to get the best AC. It scarred me. It scarred me.
It's true.
Hold on a second. There's a tank top that says a pink tank top that says bitch.
I'm pretty, dude. I think that's what it was. Like,
I never finished it.
No.
I min-maxed it, so I always put on whatever the top AC was, and it just randomly would drop you gear. Now, funny enough, in the expansion, clothing, not only can you transmog now, but clothing in the expansion doesn't even contribute to your armor. They moved all that to cyberware. So it's like, which they should have done from the beginning, obviously. But no, I remember I looked, for most of my Cyberpunk
Everyone
playthrough,
looks
I looked like
stupid.
somebody, I looked like a child that didn't know how to dress themselves.
You know, no.
Like, I seriously, like,
Remember
I'd
back
be wearing
to,
a pair of blue tight skin shorts and a blazer.
Here's a reference that only old people remember. Back to the Future. Remember what they thought the future would look like? That's what you look like in Cyberpunk. That's what Back to the Future thought the future would look like.
God, that movie
Oh
hasn't
my
aged
God,
well.
dude.
with less penises.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
When I played Cyberpunk a little bit early, and everywhere in the city there were dildos. Everywhere. I actually had to go back and look at my videos to see this. And then before the game came out, they patched them out, and I was so disappointed. I could have opened a dildo store.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really. I don't know why they changed that. Frankly, I think it would have been.
Quick
better
question for everybody in the chat, in this, not in the chat, excuse me, everybody on the show here. If you had a dildo store, what would be the name of it? I think
Dildos
like
and
Dildorama.
Ooh.
Dildos and Don'ts, that's a good one. Dildorama, Dildos and Don'ts. Dan, you got a
Hard
name
to
for your
beat
dildo store?
sales. Hard to beat
Hard
sales.
to beat.
Ooh.
Oh, good one. Love it.
You
Love
know,
it. Always-
I'd make it personal, and it would be McDildos.
Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat. Dunkin' dildos.
Dunkin' Dildos is pretty good, but
That's pretty good.
McDildos, one,
Dildo
it's my
Baggins, it's a
last
classic.
name. It's giant fast food chain. You know, it's
There we go.
pretty good. Yeah,
Hard to
Dildo
beat.
Baggins. That was
God.
my Skype username back in the day.
Oh no. Oh no.
I
Oh no.
remember that. I remember that. Your name was
I-
Dildo Bag. It was a Dildo
I
Saggins?
probably
No,
or-
it's Dildo Baggins. back in
Okay,
the day.
okay.
No.
probably shouldn't say this on the show, but I'm
Do
going
it.
to anyway. Somebody in chat goes, Chick-fil-In.
Oh, pretty good.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Nice.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Let's get to our third news story of the show. Hey, Overwatch 2 launched on Steam.
I was hoping you'd go right there. 'Cause I have
Oh.
the reviews pulled up, and it is
What
a
are we
good
at?
read.
The story 2 days ago
Oh,
was
no.
27,000 negative reviews. What's the current number, Zeke?
106,074 reviews. 91% of them negative.
Jesus.
So hold on.
Now, I did hear, and maybe chat can help me
Yes.
with this. I did
Talk
hear
about
that
the
a lot of
language
those
thing, right?
were from China. That they
Yeah.
that they
Yep.
were
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is that mean that they were bots, or that it was a Chinese down? Like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Just for the numbers, people. Out of that is 96,527 people who actively went on Steam and said.
Sometimes bots, sometimes actual people. Plenty were from China. Okay, got it. Yes, bots, because Overwatch was removed from China. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Which unfortunately immediately kind of taints things a little bit, because that means that people are leaving negative reviews for a game they can't play.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to defend Overwatch 2, but it's just like,
look, I'll defend Overwatch in this sense. Like, people are shitting on it. It still peaked yesterday. It's 71,000 people. Friday, it's 75,000 people. Right now, it's 67,000 people. Like, people are still playing it. It was probably a successful Steam launch, numbers-wise, from potentially the microtransactions that those people are buying. But the news story that they have 100,000 plus reviews is crazy. That's wild that many people are that upset.
Okay, some folks in chat are saying, by the way, that you can't actually write a Steam review unless you can install the game. So it
is free to play though. So
yeah, but I mean, if the reviews are saying they couldn't play it in China,
they couldn't play it, then
they, wherever they are, they're able to play it.
Yeah,
so that's
Dan's a huge Overwatch
if I
fan.
May,
he left.
for your entertainment,
let's hear it.
Some reviews, just a few.
Okay.
The people who make Overwatch porn work harder than the people who make Overwatch.
I saw that was the #1 upvoted one. Yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
I don't know which Blizzard treats worse, its players or its female employees. Holy shit.
Jesus.
This one is just an ASCII of a person squatting and taking a poop.
That's to be fair. That's a great point.
Oh man.
Another ASCII of just one raised middle finger.
Great.
Another good point.
Big mistake coming to Steam. Now you have the whole community critiquing your game accurately for all Steam users to see.
Yeah, true. I was watching Siegel he did a sponsored stream for they launched a new thing called Invasion, I think, for this. It's like their story element or something that it's $15 to buy in game, blah, blah, blah. And Siegel's doing a sponsored stream, and they're getting to like the end of whatever this mission is, and they're fighting like a big boss, and everyone's getting very excited, and like they're getting ready to kill the boss type deal, and it's kind of a close fight. And in the sponsored stream, it was one of the sponsored streams that has a chat triggerable alert. So when it triggered, it's a full screen video that plays, completely blocking out the gameplay. And it's John Cena talking about how they need to get in and like save the invasion from like the Omnics from attacking the city, and how you need to get in there and tweet #Overwatch 2 whatever to make sure you could save the city. And it like comes back to the screen and they've killed the boss.
Oh my God.
They've missed everything. It's the best thing I've ever seen. It's so fucking funny. It's just perfect. It really just screams like, man, don't fucking do this for content creators. Don't put full screen videos that are triggerable by chat. Don't do that, man. It's so bad. The clip is hilarious if you want to watch it. I think it was on just go to Siegel's chat. It's probably the most viewed clip there.
I was gonna say, let's please not play that ad on the show.
No, I'm not going to. Go watch the clip. It's hilarious. It's funny as fuck. So yeah, that launched. Overwatch is now available on Steam if you want to play Overwatch 2. Some other news, Keith David is taking over as Commander Zavala in Destiny, which, as I think the sole Destiny player here, fantastic casting choice. And if there is anyone that could ever...
not changing any of the previous lines either, which I think was super cool of them too.
Yeah. If there's everyone that could like step into those shoes, I don't think you can replace Lance, but step into those shoes. I think he is a fantastic choice for that. And will do a fantastic job as Commander Zavala. And I'm glad they didn't like write the character off as well. He's so pivotal to where that story is right now, pushing into the final story of Destiny 2, potential final story of Destiny 2 this year. It's a great choice for that. What else is out there? Microsoft reduced the Game Pass trial to 14 days instead of a month. I guess that's in anticipation of...
These are the little turndowns.
Yeah, the anticipation of Starfield.
We all knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
I got a random little news thing, but did any of you guys watch the THQ showcase?
Yep, I did.
Yeah.
I think I was the only unsponsored person watching.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got sponsored to watch it, but man, was that pleasantly surprising.
They had a lot of stuff.
Oh, dude. The showcase was great. There was no host. It was just like trailer, really awkward, weird commercial for Trine. Trailer, which was great.
Dude, that was like the DEI trailer, the most DEI trailer I've ever seen. Like it was
the part that killed me is when Goth Girlfriend walked in and the guy like gets on his knees and hands him the controller and I was like, what is y'all's relationship like? And then, my lord.
The fucking who's the
Pizza Man.
Yeah, but who's the
Pizza
old
guy
porn
starts
star? What's the Ron Jeremy? The pizza,
Ron Jeremy?
The pizza guy walks in. Dude, he looked exactly like him in the trailer. It was bizarre.
I've seen a lot of Ron Jeremy, and that did not look like Ron Jeremy.
No, you need to go look at it again. You need to go take another look. No, but that was a weird ad for sure.
Yeah, but the show itself was great, and I mean, Titan Quest 2, awesome.
Yeah,
the actual TMNT Last Ronin, super cool. What is it? The Last Train or whatever that is. Looks like a cool like Frostpunk historical thing. New Outlast. That looks really cool.
Yeah.
They had the CNC revival, which is not CNC because EA still owns the rights to that.
Yeah, that's Conquer and Command. That's what that is.
That is a free to play weekend this weekend, by the way. If anyone wants to try that, it's still. I think you can still try that for a little bit. Barry said the demo unfortunately was really short, but it was good. And then the Gothic remake, we got to see more of the Gothic remake, which is just shaping up to look awesome. So yeah, that was actually a surprisingly solid, super fast. It was only like half an hour.
Yeah,
and
it was 26 minutes. It was very fast.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it was just content the whole time. It was just, that was great.
It was definitely good stuff.
We need more of that from developers, to be honest. Like,
totally.
What we're working on.
Absolutely. We only have 20 minutes left in the show, and maybe it's big enough news that it might be worth inviting someone from that side of Twitch and that world of Twitch. But Rockstar buying the FiveM folk is crazy, and could be really bad or really good, or maybe a little bit of both. I don't know.
I'm worried they're going to try to monetize everything.
Like you're 100% buying a server. You're going to 100% buy a server through them or pay to play on a server, and that's going to go through the Rockstar account.
A lot of people do not know some of the stuff you just said. Can you back up and kind of explain what that is?
Let me. I will pull up the thing. And we can read through it together.
Basically, GTA RP is the short of it.
Yeah. They bought. So in order to play any GTA RP server, you have to install a mod called FiveM or RedM, and it's kind of a platform that all of these GTA RP servers use. And so instead of buying the servers, Rockstar bought the mod team, essentially, that kind of utilizes all of this or helps utilize all this stuff. And in the past, I want to say they also shut them down or did something to them legally. And so now it's like, we'll just buy them. And so that's what they did. Obviously, no actual information or changes or announcements outside of them being purchased, but there came some other stuff this past, I think it was 2 weeks ago, in like a earnings report that there is a quote unquote massive game coming next year from Take-Two. A lot of people are thinking that's GTA 6, with them announcing this. If GTA 6 launches with like a play on our RP server type deal, could be absolutely ginormous.
Even as part of the game.
As part of the game, yeah. And would only grow the idea of what GTA Online is if you're having to get a subscription for that, for example, to play on all these RP servers. While I think a lot of people believe that those things are only played on by content creators, those things make like millions of dollars from people getting not content creators playing on them every single month, year, whatever. They make a fuck ton of money. So it makes sense for Rockstar to like own that piece of the pie and monetize it.
Want it to be under their umbrella.
Yeah. And it also makes sense that from FiveM's point of view, then they're going to have the keys to the kingdom and can hopefully make a better version of what they have already made in a lot of ways, without fear of recourse from like legal from Take-Two, arguably one of the most wealthy companies in video games today. So definitely huge news. I would love to talk to someone from the RP community to like see how they feel about this. That being said, there's also this like drama is a weird. There's a lot of things happening in the RP community where people are like leaving NoPixel and like stating that they're done playing on NoPixel and they're going to play on other servers and yada yada yada. So I don't know if they fully reacted to it because of how much is actually going on in that scene itself yet. So we'll see. Definitely big news, but not big news yet. We'll probably hear about the actual ramifications of it a year from now, 6 months from now, whatever. Whenever they decide to monetize it and announce the monetization.
I'm with you, JP. Like I would be very curious to see like if the temperature of the actual RPers, like the people who use the system, are optimistic or pessimistic about what's coming out.
Yeah. Dan, what were you gonna say?
Rockstar also did something that made a lot of people upset. They announced that there's going to be a port finally of Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
And they're going to release it on the Switch and the PS4, not the PS5. And it's going to be pretty much it'll run at 4K on the Switch, I think. And then it'll be locked at 30 FPS. And it'll have all the DLC, but no online. The online will be disabled. And it will have almost no changes from the original port. And it won't be on PC either. So it's just going to be, and it's going to be $50. They're going to release the port with minimal changes, about 4K on the PS4, and then like regular 720 on the Switch, the old PS3 version.
Yeah. Did you see what the CEO said when he was asked about the price? CEO Strauss Zelnick of Take-Two said, quote, when defending the price, quote, "That's what we believe is the commercially accurate price for it. It certainly is a great value for consumers." So there you go.
What is the commercially
Well, I feel better.
price?
What about you guys? I feel so much better after hearing that.
It's
I don't hate them anymore. We're good.
It's $50, Zeke, for Red Dead Redemption 1 in 2023. When you could go to GameStop.
Just real quick. Let me check.
You can't find it on Steam, which is another thing why people.
No. I'm not trying to find it on Steam. I'm trying to say, save up $10 more and get Baldur's Gate 3.
I can imagine him starting that.
Now you're the IGN article. There you go. Welcome to it, Zeke. What were you gonna say?
I can imagine him, starting that whole thing with, after talking to my good friends at Naughty Dog. I feel like this is a great price point for the first game. You should feel good because I feel great about it.
Don't ask why I have this pulled up, but you said Naughty Dog, and I was just like, yeah, let's talk about Last of Us. Show that real quick. That was a banger PC.
Dude, Ellie having eyebrows like fucking Ernie from Sesame Street.
It's great. I love it.
Bird, I guess. Bird is the one. Yeah,
I love it so much.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
The Last of Us, but with puppets.
Oh,
I'd
watch
actually pay $50 for that.
It'd be like the old Angel episode where everyone's a puppet. That'd be great. I'm on board. 10 out of 10.
Oh man.
Good.
Well, would it be like the last of Mups?
The Last of Mups, yeah.
Yes, Last of Mups.
I'm on board.
Last
I'm
of
on
Mup.
board. Co, have you played any Dark and Darker now that that's available?
I'm in a hole. Man.
Yeah. What?
If I'm pretty much playing Baldur's Gate 3 unless, I've done a couple sponsor streams here and there for scheduling reasons, but I'm pretty much playing Baldur's Gate 3 if I have anything to play. So
do you know
Dark and
about
Darker,
the launch? Like it's a new publisher? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, so they apparently found a way to get it out. People have been playing a lot of it lately. Apparently it's playing well. A lot of people are having a great time with it. I'm kind of unfortunate with the timing because I would love to put more time into it, and it's just not the best time to be playing other things right now. But no, I mean, things are looking good, man. Things are looking good. And a lot of people are like hardcore into it. You know, Sequisha, Grims, Anthony Compan, that whole crew is in. Lyric's been playing some of it. Apparently it's been great. I've seen Soda Poppin's also in it too. So
yeah,
people are back. People are loving it. I don't know what their plans are now. I don't think they're doing, I think this might be the early access, if I'm not mistaken. So
really?
I don't know if they're like, I'm not entirely sure. They used to do specifically like the weekends, and you know, they'd have like a 5-day period where it would be up and then it would be down and everyone would get their character erased. I don't know if they've been public about that. So I don't know if it's a kind of thing now where it's just like, you know, have they announced the next time they're going to wipe? Are the servers always on? Again, because I haven't really been playing it myself. I haven't looked too much into this, but I got to say that I feel like a lot of the hype with Dark and Darker was starting fresh with everyone else on these big, like, you know, EA style events. And it's going to be interesting to see in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, you know, like if the servers are still on and they're not wiping anymore, like how much are people still going to be playing it?
Yep. We'll have to see.
I hope they still are, because once I'm done with Cyberpunk, I'd love to jump in. So we'll see.
3 months.
We'll see.
Yeah. Maybe
Although
I'm gonna wipes. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other fun little multiplayer games coming out soon too. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is right around the corner, and I know I speak for a lot of folks when I said that's actually a pretty fun take on the Dark and Darker gameplay loop. So it's like, or not Dark and Darker,
Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight. Thank you.
Which has aliens coming to it. By the way, did you see that trailer? That's fucking
Can't
cool.
wait for Nick Cage to fight him. That's
what
cool.
I was. I was excited for Nick Cage versus the alien too. That's where I went right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting because Dark and Darker has now been out for, you know, a few days. It's going to, then TCM is going to come out. And a lot of the people that play Dark and Darker were also the people that were making TCM. So it's going to, you know, we'll have to see how that whole thing shakes out.
Yep.
I know I want to do some cozy TCM. So yeah.
There you go. Dan, have you played Palia, by the way?
Yeah.
How is Palia? I know I've lived through Julia, who's kind of a friend of everyone on the show, who's loving it, but I haven't talked to her about it, only through her tweets. How have you played it? What's it like? Is it good?
It's kind of like imagine my time at Portia, but if it was an MMO.
Okay.
Where like everyone has a house that's in like an instance place, like you go there, there's a separate town. I think it's really has a lot of fun mechanics. It's free to play. It will be free to play. There's an open beta right now, so I think anyone that wants to try it can play it. It's kind of like if you took My Time at Portia, made it an MMO, have things have long timers, like building a house takes 8 hours and you know stuff like that.
Can
There's
you pay to skip?
Not yet.
Not yet.
They said that they're gonna be cosmetics only, but we know how promises like that have held up in the past. But
yeah,
so far it's cosmetics only, just skins and stuff.
Okay.
Like
also it's soft launch.
You have infinite energy, so you can like keep farming and gathering resource and stuff. The timers is like in the crafting of stuff, like you know, like imagine like Stardew Valley, like you put up something in a pickle jar, but it takes a day, you know, or it takes like hours for it to process all the pickles and stuff.
Yeah,
that's where the timers are put in the game. But it's very comfy. There's no like violence yet. It's like, you know, except for hunting, you can hunt animals, but there's no like PvP stuff yet. You know, it's all about just
deathmatch mode is next month.
It's an MMO for people that just like to play. You like to go in the new world and just harvest trees and, you know, build up little stuff, like build a little house or a fort stuff. It's that kind of stuff. If you like to fish, if you like to, you know, the peaceful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth trying. Like some people will love it. It's open beta, so give it a try. See if you like it.
I've heard good things. Yeah.
I love you so much, Julia, but this game sounds like they took all the worst parts of an MMO, made a game out of it. To me personally,
it's Animal
like
Crossing MMOs.
All of the grinding and building and fetching and all that shit. They just took all of like the raiding and boss battles, the shit that, you know, I like, and they're like, so you don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, King Gathalion, has been neck deep in Palia for days and days. And I think he kind of said it. I was lurking in his stream this morning as he was getting ready, and I think he kind of said it best. He said, Palia is that kind of game that is just cozy. It's easy. And it's one of those things that he's just has fun playing it. There's no gimmicks. It's not mentally taxing. It's in a day and age with a lot of stress and a lot of, external life stressors. It's nice to have this kind of just super cozy, nice escape. You always have things to do. There's always things you can get done. There's lots of little quest lines that go in different directions, lots of completionist stuff you can work towards. So, he has like a freaking big house with all sorts of stuff going on in it, tons of building, tons of customization. So, it's a cozy game for an uncozy time. Also to mention, and I personally don't really agree with this, and I think it was a terrible decision, to be honest, but they did soft launch the game.
Yeah.
And what that means is I think even going back as early as closed beta and now, everything you do saves. Like it's essentially out. So they've said that data is only going to be erased if there's like some kind of catastrophic technical reason they have to. But essentially, like, the game's out, which is honestly one of the reasons I don't really want to touch it right now, because I kind of want everything to be there. I was a fan. I love Stardew Valley. I had a good time in my time at Porsche. I'm planning on playing Sandrock, but at the same time, I don't really want to without having to restart and stuff. I don't really want to just spin my wheels doing a bunch of, quote unquote, busy work and stuff now, and then just forget it all when I go back for updates later, or have to redo it all when I don't really have to redo it all.
Sure.
So that was a weird decision. But I all I know is it apparently is doing great. A lot of the people that love it, the people that like it, tend to love it. So they're clearly doing something right.
Cool. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure it's going to continue to grow. Last thing I want to bring up, Evo happened last week. And we were able to restream all of Sunday. So I sat here for 13 hours and watched fighting game tournaments. That was some of the most fun I've had on stream in a very long time. I love watching Evo, and the fact that I was able to watch it with chat, and a lot of people that have never watched fighting game tournaments of that caliber before, that watched it and were like, holy shit, I get it. I understand the draw and the appeal for everything around this. It was awesome. The finals were fantastic. There was everything you could wanted in terms of the Street Fighter finals, and it had all the emotion and everything you wanted. It was 10 out of 10. Oh yeah, and Chad is reminding me now via the hiding inputs emote. It also had I think the Korean.
That's a hiding input.
Because the Korean players.
Oh no!
The Korean players would don a blanket over their fight stick when playing, and so you could look at that and see what it might look like when you would watch a camera on those players playing with a joystick in their lap and a blanket over it. And so that became a massive internet meme of just two dudes sitting in front of a TV, and one of them's got a blanket on its lap, playing with a joystick on a arcade stick. Definitely looks a certain way.
That's a penis.
It definitely looks a certain way.
Yep.
Okay. So that was also fun because that chat is arguably the best part of fighting game tournaments, because all the memes were great. They had a Chipotle ad that Sajam, who's one of the commentators.
Oh.
And every time Chipotle would play, the in-crowd, in-arena audience would just erupt. They would just lose their shit every time the ad played. And so it became this giant meme. It was just fantastic. It was just awesome. Whenever it would be go to Chipotle and get your burrito now, the crowd erupts. It was great. They mic'd it, and it was
going back to what Dan said and the joys of them. I heard there were some great mods.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that was not at Evo. Yeah. That was at a tournament the week before Evo. Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot the tournament, but it was
I was like, wow, what mod is that? And then I took a look at it, and I was like, man, that's a pretty great mod.
Yeah. I forget the specifics on if that was the player that had the mod, or
it was the commentator.
The commentator that was watching that had the completely nude Chun-Li skin, or what? Was it the caster?
So for those that don't know, there's nude mods for Street Fighter 6, and on one of these tournaments, one of them was, he was a bit aloof and forgot to disable his nude Chun-Li mod. And the crowd got quite the show.
Yeah. Which, funny enough, it's like playing Baldur's. It's the tamest shit now playing Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Yeah. I know. You got to be careful clicking too fast in that inventory in Baldur's Gate, or oh man.
Yeah, exactly.
Whew.
Exactly. So you could find clips of that if you want to watch it. It's pretty funny, arguably, because they do the whole character introduction.
Look how
then
long they were on it.
Yeah, it just shows Chun-Li going like this, and she's just completely fucking nude, just like casting fireballs and doing kicks and the whole shebang. It's great. It's ridiculous.
That's pretty great.
I think that's kind of the final. Any little random tidbits of news? We skipped over some things, but that was most of the past.
I got
week.
a bunch of games to talk about. We can do it next week.
Yeah. There are other games out besides Baldur's Gate, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Me and Dan played one of them.
Yeah, what was you? That was what was that game?
Sengoku Dynasty.
Sengoku Dynasty. What is that game? What do you do in that game?
Apparently, they're Dynasty likes, which I wasn't aware of this because the company is apparently churning out a bunch of them. There's like Medieval Dynasty, there's Pirate Dynasty coming out. But what do you think of it, Dan?
I thought it was fun. It's like, imagine a survival game, but the houses and stuff you build are actually have use. Like you put an NPC in there and give them a job, and then you build a whole town, and then the town can like trade with other towns you build and stuff. Like it gets really complex. It's like giving all that building you do in survival games a meaning and a purpose. That was very cool.
Agreed.
Cool. That's on it's on Steam right now in early access.
You actually like have a whole
off.
interface for like having NPCs in your town, assigning them to structures, making sure they have a place to sleep, giving them tasks, assigning those tasks. Then you progress the seasons. You need to have like enough food between them and stuff. There's a bell. You can build walls and towers and tons of production stuff. And it's kind of taking like single player survival to this kind of management level, which is kind of cool.
Cool. Yeah. Cool stuff. We'll check it out. I think that's good. I think that's the show. We can do some shout outs and wrap it up, and then I'll go play Baldur's Gate 3. Because I think that's what the rest of the world is doing right now. They're almost at 900,000.
What are we up to? Yeah, I was gonna say like
875,000 is what I just saw in chat. So
I hope they're
getting close, man.
I think they're about to best Hogwarts.
That was the closest they've done. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. And then Cyberpunk is like what, 1.2? Is that Cyberpunk's in the millions, right?
Cyberpunk's a bit off. Yeah, bit a ways off.
Yeah. Well, it's week 2.
We'll see.
I mean, could if there's
it's wild to think that like that's just on Steam. I mean, when you bring in the console players later, it's going to be even more.
Yeah.
Wild, man. Game's stupid successful.
Very, very, very successful. And I think everyone is super happy for all of Larian for it being so successful. Oh yeah, and GOG. That's true. And GOG. I wonder how many people bought it on GOG. Was there early access on GOG, or was it only full release?
No idea.
Okay. We'll see what chat says. Let's do some shout outs though, and then close out the show. Zeke, what do you got going on? Where can people check you out?
Hi everybody. Thank you, DansGaming, for joining me. I love you, man. And thank you for being here, dude.
I love you too.
It's always good. It's always good to see you, man. Like I miss those weekly days. Those weekly days. Yep. I miss those weekly get-togethers that we used to have, and we should hang out sometime probably. But thanks for being on the show. JP, Co, you guys are okay. Thank you guys.
That's fair.
My name is Ezekiel III. You can find me at /Ezekiel_I on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, and Ezekiel III, all spelled out on Instagram and TikTok. I stream every day except Mondays, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific, and I am starting, so tomorrow off, but on Tuesday, I'm starting the If Then contest that I hold once a month, the first Saturday of the month. Anybody who subs or resubs gets their name in a drawing, and whoever wins gets to pick a game to be played in the middle of the month, and that game has been chosen for Tuesday, the 15th, and that game will be, there it is, Fear and Hunger, which is, when I mentioned that, I had never heard of it before, but when I mentioned that in my chat, people were like, oh, what? Oh, shit. Because apparently it's pretty, like, adulty, like, as far as, like, I guess there's, like, sex and violence or something in it. But, yeah, so, but there is a mod. I guess, or a setting, I guess, in the game that I can make them wear clothes, so that it won't be just like, Dong Fest 2023. So we'll see, but that's what I'm checking out on Tuesday, and that's all I have planned, because that's all I usually ever have planned is one game ahead of time. So that's all I got. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. When are we playing SnowRunner? Have you? Well, that's the wrong thing. Have you planned?
Oh shit, dude!
SnowRunner?
Dude, I forgot to show you, man.
Yeah, that's the wheel that you got. We gotta do SnowRunner. I'll be finishing Baldur's Gate this week, so maybe next week.
But listen, that's the thing. Like, I am free whenever, except Mondays. Any day is fine with me. We can do it. So I don't know, like herding cats, man. I don't know. I got to get three other streamers to agree on a time. And that's...
Yeah, who would do that every fucking week for a decade? That would be real fucking stupid.
Listen, this is scheduled, though. This is every fucking week. We know to be here. Like, scheduling one day, like, that's tough, dude. Especially with everybody going, like, I can't, I'm playing this. I can't, I'm doing a sponsored thing, Like, we don't schedule sponsored things or other things. Like, I schedule around this show.
That would just be foolish to do. Cool, let's do some shout-outs.
As always, thank you to JP and Zeke. And of course, huge thank you to DansGaming. We've done a lot of these fun sponsor streams recently. I hope we do more in the future. They've been great. My name is Co. Coming up next week, we've got a lot more Baldur's Gate 3 as we work through that. We're also going to be checking out Path of Exile later this week. I think maybe some Gourd as well in there. A lot of other fun stuff. And of course, as we get ready for our big Starfield run, the countdown has started. And hope to see you there for that. Should be a lot of fun. Yes, I am DansGaming.
Why does it say DansGaming?
You can find me at twitter.com. Oh, hi.
But why is that? What the hell? Finish your shout out, damn it. What? Hold on. Does this?
Classy.
Did that change for
God damn
Dan?
you.
Oh, it didn't submit. God damn it. Dan, do some shout outs. This fucking show's ruined.
I am DansGaming. Friday streamer.
That's it. I quit. Sorry.
Barry's fired. Sorry. I'm currently playing Baldur's Gate 3 as well. Currently just finished Act 2, about to start Act 3. I'll be playing a little bit later tonight. If you want to check that out. Thanks for having me on the show. Love coming and chatting with you guys. You guys are all awesome people, and I appreciate you inviting me on the show.
Nice. We got sound effects. Oh, Dan's gone. He's out. I keep hitting that.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Dan. Man, this show this week has just been this is chaos.
It was a good 3 hours, but after 3 hours, it just
whole thing falls apart.
Whole thing falls apart.
A lot of energy. Yep,
it's rough. Anyways, we will be back next. We'll be back next week. Like Co said, Path of Exile on Friday, which will be interesting to see how that goes in a post D4 world. We'll probably talk about that. Maybe some more Baldur's Gate 3, and then eventually. We'll see if we can finish that game. We'll probably do a spoiler show. I don't want to promise that because that might be like literally a month from now. 2-3 might happen in 2024 type deal.
Well, I'll tell you this. I forgot to mention this, that I will be going to let's see, next Sunday. Yes, next Sunday will be my last drop frames for 2 weeks because I am going to Burning Man.
Oh, so okay. Awesome.
If you want to do your spoiler show in there, be my guest.
We could grab
if you
couple.
Can finish it in the next, at the beginning of first week of September.
Okay. Yeah, we can grab. We'll talk. I'd like to invite Strippin because he's doing a co-op run, and their run is wildly different from a single player run. So we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. We're out of here for now. Thank you so much for watching Drop Frames. We will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.